Chapter 1432. The sound of the car engine suddenly disappeared, and the strange silence made the gentleman even more alert. His ears pricked up like a cat's as he carefully listened for any faint sounds outside the warehouse. At this moment, Yu Jiaqian was much more nervous than the gentleman. This kind of border with the autonomous region was the place with the weakest supervision, so the car that came here was definitely not a police patrol. This was not like what was shown in American movies. Even in a remote town, as long as you dared to commit a crime, even if you hid in a coffin, the police would be able to find you with a gun in one hand and a document in the other. They would also tell you that you had the right to remain silent, but everything you said would be taken as a confession in court. This was obviously better than the Huaxia police. After all, there was a cultural difference between different regions. Of course, in any country, there were people who abused their power and neglected their duties, and there were also people who enforced the law impartially and selflessly. However, Huaxia's people were a little less strict and selfless, and there were more people who lived leisurely. Yu Jiaqian had no intention of slandering the Huaxia police. Most people would not be able to come into contact with the Serious Crimes Investigation Unit or the Criminal Police Unit that specialized in solving major cases, but everyone knew one or two police officers in ordinary police stations. She had heard of the security guards who lost an electric scooter, two groups of people fighting, or had their wallets stolen while shopping on the bus. The police station received many cases every day, but how many cases were solved? Most of the workers would just say, "Go back and wait for the news." The petty thieves who were caught by the police station were all possessed by the god of misfortune. They would be caught red-handed if they were caught stealing at a fixed time. Otherwise, they would be so daring as to extend their hands to certain people that they could not afford to offend. Since ancient times, Huaxia had never lacked the legends of three hands. Thieves also had their principles, and there were many chivalrous thieves who robbed the rich to help the poor. However, there were no constables other than the four famous constables and the 6-fan school. "Yudikin, it's us." The gentleman heaved a sigh of relief when he heard the voice from outside. So it was one of them. Yoni's voice was easy to recognize, and the gentleman recognized him immediately. Underneath Yudikin's gentle appearance was a cruel and merciless personality. This was definitely related to his life experience. As a person who was tricked into working on a pirate ship at the age of 5, his childhood memories were filled with all kinds of deceit, all kinds of evil, all kinds of sinister schemes, and all kinds of torture and killing. The reason why Yudikin always had a gentle smile on his face was a habit that he had developed over the years. When he was young, even if he was kicked, beaten, and insulted by others, he would still have to put on a smile that didn't show any disgust. Otherwise, he would have to face death. Death was terrible. What Yudikin feared the most was death. The pirate ship was not the world of devil fruit users in the eyes of 2D enthusiasts. The captain was definitely not the affectionate and hot-blooded Monchi D. Luffy. The companion was not the strong-willed Roronoa Zoro. The navigator was not the lovely and charming Nami. The cook was also not Sanji. The ship's doctor, Choppa? That was naturally even more impossible. If the people on his pirate ship were compared to the 2D characters that everyone was familiar with, their captain was a man who advocated strength and was conceited. He was a man who was patient, tenacious, far-sighted, and reckless in his actions. At the same time, he was also a rough, cruel, treacherous, and greedy guy. Their vice-captain should be someone like Shiryu of the Rain. He was bloodthirsty and liked to kill indiscriminately. In everyone's eyes, he was a super executioner. And their navigator was the infamous Lafitte who was expelled by the country. They were a group of absolutely violent and terrifying guys. People who grew up in this kind of environment were somewhat psychopathic, and Yudikin was no exception. He was also an absolute psychopath, but his psychopathic nature had long been buried deep in his heart. Most people would never think of him as a psychopath when they saw him. Just like Yu Jiaqian, even if this guy forced her to come to this place, she still thought that he was a gentle and elegant person, not a violent and cruel person. But all the agents under General Ade knew that Yudikin's cruelty was not something they could compare to. He was more violent than anyone else, and the blood in his body was crueler than anyone else's. Yudikin's means of killing were richer than anyone else's, and his means of torture were even more varied. Those who had seen him in an interrogation were absolutely unforgettable. The scene was quite shocking. Seeing Yudikin's relaxed look and the voice of the people outside, Yu Jiaqian was still quite disappointed. Although she did not have any extravagant hopes, she still had the desire to survive when she heard the voice of the people outside. Yu Jiaqian, are you there? Another voice called out to her from outside the factory. Such a familiar voice rekindled all the hope in Yu Jiaqian's heart. That's right, this voice was Su Yun's. Yu Jiaqian's heart was already boiling. This feeling really surprised and moved her. She did not know how to describe it. At first, she really hoped that it would be like this. But then Yu Jiaqian fell into deep self-blame and worry. It was because of her that Su Yun was brought to this place, and the other party was obviously preparing to deal with Su Yun. Su Yun would definitely be in trouble here. Was this all her fault? Would Su Yun be in danger? These were all the emotions that followed Yu Jiaqian. She suddenly had a strong desire to shout and tell Su Yun to go back. But then, Yu Jiaqian was directly controlled by the gentle-looking Yudikin. Obviously, Yudikin knew very well that a change in the plan meant that there was a problem. They had agreed to contact Su Yun the next day, but they had brought him here in the middle of the night. There was definitely a problem. Yudikin did not answer any questions. He also covered Yu Jiaqian's mouth to prevent her from making any sound or breathing. Under the premise that he could not confirm the situation outside, he would not easily reveal his location. Yudikin, something happened to us today. We were surrounded by Captain Yanlong's team at the hotel. Bigger knew that Yudikin was cautious, so he had to explain the situation clearly. Otherwise, he would not show up. Right now, Yanlong and I are being controlled by Yanlong. There are 3 of them. However, they won't do anything to us here. They are not armed, and Yanlong cares a lot about the hostage. Bring the hostage out to see us now. Yudikin angrily punched the wall. 2 idiots. They had actually screwed up the plan. He had warned them repeatedly that the more critical the moment, the more vigilant they had to be. How could these 2 guys screw up at such a crucial time? Yanlong is willing to exchange himself for the hostage, Yanni added. Yanni added. This condition had obviously dispelled Yudikin's anger. As long as Su Yuning obediently surrendered, everything was negotiable. Yu Jiaqian's eyes were a little red. It seemed that she really did not understand Su Yun. Only now did she believe that Yudikin really understood Su Yun. They could clearly conclude that Su Yun would do anything to save her, which was why he had attacked her. Hearing this condition, Yudikin did not hide anymore. He walked out of the warehouse with Yu Jiaqian. I didn't expect the 2 of you to be so efficient. Of course, there was some disdain in his words. Seeing the bruises on their faces, he knew that the 2 of them had suffered a lot. Yu Jiaqian was no longer under his control and could speak. For some reason, she suddenly shouted, "Who asked you to save me? Go back. We don't know each other. I don't need you to save me. Go away. Go." Yudikin pulled Yu Jiaqian behind him. If not for the fact that his 2 accomplices were still in Su Yun's hands, he would have slapped them. Now that his men were still in Su Yun's hands, it was better not to anger Su Yun. After all, they were not armed, so they could only hope that Su Yun would cooperate. Chen Feng and Hua Xiaolu were already in a bad mood. They did not want their boss to exchange his life for hers, but they had no choice. It was not up to them to decide. Chapter 1433. Let them go. Su Yun ignored Yu Jiaqian's shouts and said firmly to Yudikin, "Let her go, and I'll return your men unscathed." Bigger pointed at his swollen face and questioned Su Yun, "You call this unscathed? Don't you know how heavy-handed your own people are? Captain Yanlong, you really know how to joke. If I were you, I'd definitely become an excellent talk show host." "Then what do you want?" Su Yun said, "You called my 2 people here. Isn't it because you want to take revenge? But I'm telling you now, that's impossible." Of course, Su Yun would not let anyone humiliate his 2 brothers who had gone through thick and thin with him. When he agreed to let Chen Feng and Hua Xiaolu accompany him, It was only to prevent them from playing any tricks on the way and to change their strategy at the last minute. But now that they were here, Su Yun could not let his brothers be humiliated by others. Everything Bigger had planned before would be for naught. Even if Qian Feng was here, Su Yun would never let them succeed. I'm afraid that's not up to you, right? What I want to do depends on whether I want to do it. Bigger took advantage of the fact that the hostages were still in his hands and was a little unscrupulous. His desire for revenge was too strong. If he did not teach this Qian Feng a lesson today, he would not be able to take it lying down at all. Of course, he would also make Yanni return all the punches and kicks that Yanni had given him. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu did not care. They could bear with it if they wanted to. They would definitely not blame Su Yun for this. Who asked him to be so despicable to seize such a good opportunity? If he did not let them take action to relieve his itch, he would be letting them down. Su Yun had his own way of dealing with this. If you two want to do something to my brothers, fine, but you'll have to return what you want to return. Then, you two will exchange the hostages. This condition did not seem to benefit the other party at all. The agents under General Aude were not fools. This deal was meaningless, and at the same time, it would expose their identities. It would not be easy for them to stay in Huaxia. This condition was absolutely impossible, and Yudikin's target was Su Yun. He wanted to capture Su Yun no matter the cost. Su Yun had already seen through this problem, and he also saw another problem. Among the agents, other than Jefferson who had found a way to get a large amount of weapons, none of them take the risk. They did not have any lethal weapons. From Yudikin's expression, Su Yun could see that he was dissatisfied with this proposal. Exchanging his two companions for a hostage that could make Yen Long surrender was not a good deal. No, he really could not agree to this. Yudikin quickly made a clear and rational decision. Although his companions were important, they were definitely not as important as the hostage in his hands. As long as he had the hostage, Yen Long would not dare to act rashly. If he exchanged the hostage for his two companions, then their fates would depend on their luck. Once the hostage was out of danger, Yen Long would definitely target them. There was no way he would let them go. At that time, he would probably face even more difficulties, and his fate would be in the hands of the other party. However, the reason Yudikin could survive for so many years on the pirate ship and survive in the hands of so many murderous demons showed that he was not a guy who liked to have his fate in the hands of others. One's fate must be in one's own hands. Only by having one's own fate could one obtain more things that were beneficial to oneself and control the situation that was beneficial to oneself. Impossible. Yudikin said these 3 words calmly. These 3 words were basically equivalent to announcing the failure of Beagle's plan. He no longer had the chance to retaliate against Qian Feng. Yudikin pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose. Captain Yen Long, you and I are both smart people. I believe you know that I will not agree to this condition, which is why you said it first. Now that things have come to this, I don't want to waste any more time. You must have a better suggestion. If not, then it's up to me to state the conditions, right? Su Yun nodded. It did not matter who said it, because he believed that this guy in front of him was thinking the same thing as him. Only Su Yun himself could exchange for the hostage. No one else was a bargaining chip in Yudikin's heart. Only you can exchange the hostages in my hands. No one else can, Yudikin said. Right now, 2 of my people are in your hands. Their legs are tied up and they have completely lost their ability to fight, so they are no threat to you. I don't want them for now. Yen Long, I want your people to tie you up like this, then slowly come over to my side. I will naturally release them. What are you thinking? Do you think we will believe your nonsense? Hua Xiaolu could not agree. If Su Yun went over, what would they do if he did not release the hostages? None of them could guarantee that this guy was not a lazy dog. From their various actions, they really were the kind of shameless people who like to go back on their words. It was impossible for them to believe such shameless words. Qian Feng also said to Su Yun, Boss, you can't agree to this condition. They don't have good intentions at all. Captain Yen Long, think about it carefully. If I don't release the hostages, I still have 2 of my friends in your hands. They have no ability to resist, and your people can kill them if they want to. How can I not keep my word? Utekin said further. This made sense, but even Bigger and Yanni could not believe what Utekin was saying. Was it true or not? It was like a gamble. If Utekin suddenly cheated, the one who would die would not be him, but Bigger and Yanni. Utekin, you're not joking, are you? Bigger obviously did not trust Utekin. You can't joke about our lives. You have to know that if it weren't for the 2 of us, Yen Long would not have been brought here. You can take all the credit for yourself, but you have to guarantee the safety of Yanni and my lives. Utekin glanced at Bigger and said calmly, Of course, I won't give up on my companions. But in the ears of Bigger and Yanni, these words were more unbelievable than anything else. They all knew what kind of person Utekin was. The reason he could survive on that ferocious pirate ship was because he killed all his companions on the ship. Their ruthless captain and cruel chief officer were all killed by Utekin himself. Who would believe that such a person would care about the lives of his companions? Even a ghost wouldn't believe Utekin's words. Bigger gritted his teeth. Did this bastard really want to burn the bridge after crossing the river and take all the credit for himself? No, he could not let his life be in the hands of others. I have another suggestion, Bigger suddenly said. We don't have to go back, but during the exchange, since Yen Long was tied up and subdued, you can let him go when he walks into the trap. This will make them feel more at ease. Bigger, you shouldn't distrust me so much. We're companions, Utekin said with slight displeasure. Bigger was really too cunning. He was afraid that Utekin would use this opportunity to push them into the fire pit and take all the credit for himself. He was really a man of petty character. Bigger smiled without any embarrassment. I just hope that our exchange will be fairer. That way they can rest assured. Otherwise, I'm afraid they won't agree to your request. Utekin snorted disdainfully. How could he not agree? He had already seen Su Yun's expression that he agreed to his terms, because Su Yun also thought the same. He knew better than anyone else that only he could exchange for the hostages. He had known this before he came. Su Yun had asked Chen Feng and Hua Xiaolu to accompany him. Another reason was that he needed brothers to take Yu Jiaqian away. One would protect the hostages and the other would cover the retreat. He needed at least 2 brothers. Chapter 1434. Utekin really did have the thought of abandoning his comrade. Bigger, that cowardly bastard, had messed things up at a critical moment. Did he not think about one thing? If he let the hostage go before he could confirm that Su Yun was being controlled, it would be a very risky thing to do. It was not easy to capture a hostage that the other party was so wary of. Wouldn't it be too easy to let the hostage go just like that? Utekin would never do that. Captain Yen Long is a magnanimous person. When I make a deal with a magnanimous person, I always keep my word. Captain Yen Long, although we haven't had much contact, there should still be some basic trust between us, right? No. Su Yun's answer was very straightforward. It was impossible for him to have any sense of trust with General Aid's agents. Their despicable and shameless image had already left a deep impression in Su Yun's heart. Trusting them was the same as trusting Pinocchio. He would only watch their noses grow longer and longer. However, Su Yun was not the princess of the forest. He had no interest in living a happy life with Pinocchio. Captain Yen Long, your words really make me sad and disappointed. Utekin smiled. I thought that we would at least have some feelings of appreciation for each other. Now it seems that I was thinking too much. Su Yun snorted. You don't have to be so hypocritical. You're the one who has the initiative now. You can do whatever you want. There's no need to pretend to be friends with me. You know that I won't listen to your nonsense. If you don't trust your people, then give me a reason to believe that you will definitely let them go. Utekin's face darkened. Because she doesn't mean anything to me. Why would I hurt her? Her value is to exchange you for me. The person I want is you, not her. Also, I'm not interested in women. I'm quite interested in Captain Yen Long, damn. This grandson was actually a gay who liked to play and pick up soap. Su Yun felt a chill run down his spine when he heard that. No wonder he did not participate in Beagle and Yanni's debauchery at the hotel. It turned out that it was not because he had a functional disability, but because he was mentally ill. Actually, Su Yun was not a person who discriminated against gays and lesbians. It was just that his traditional views made him feel a little disgusted. Is he really gay? Chen Feng stared at Bigger. Is this B***starred bluffing? If that guy was gay and Su Yun was swapped over and controlled, wouldn't it be possible for him to lose his anus? Thinking of this, Chen Feng and Hua Xiaolu looked at each other. Both of them felt Su Yun's chrysanthemum tighten. It was too disgusting. Adler's men were not only despicable, they were all perverted weirdos. How could they be so unlucky to have such a team as their opponent? But come to think of it, perhaps they were the only ones who could deal with this supergroup of weirdos led by General Adler. If they were to head to other countries, perhaps there wouldn't be many who could withstand their various despicable means. Captain Yen Long, if you agree to trust me, our deal will continue. If you don't, then I'll have to cancel the deal. Yutakin said, as long as the hostage is in my hands, you can't do anything to me. That's for sure, no matter the time, right? Haha. This was true. No matter the time, as long as Yu Jiaqian was still in Yutakin's hands, Su Yun could not act rashly. He could only be led by the nose. It was said that one had to lead the cow by its nose, not its legs. Now it seemed that Su Yun was being led by the nose. General Aid's subordinates had studied him thoroughly, which was why they were always able to strike first. I agree. Su Yun had no other choice. He could only agree. He had to save Yu Jiaqian from this position first, and then think of other ways to deal with the rest. He would take it one step at a time. Straightforward. Yutakin laughed. I like dealing with straightforward people like Captain Yen Long. I promise that as long as Captain Yen Long does not play any tricks, I will definitely release the hostage. As long as you are here, the hostage is meaningless to me. In comparison, I hope that my two companions can return safely. Only then can I be at ease. Captain Yen Long is such a powerful person. If I don't have two companions to help me, I won't be able to sleep at night. With Yutakin's words, Bigger calmed down. It was true. If Yutakin did not exchange him and Yanni for the hostage, he could not deal with Su Yun alone. Haha, it seemed that companions were companions after all. When facing an external enemy, even untrustworthy companions should be trusted. With common interests, even enemies could become friends, let alone companions. Just as the two sides reached an agreement, Su Yun put his hands behind his back to let Chen Feng and Hua Xiaolu tie him up, and Bigger watched intently to see if they could tie Su Yun up. Yanni did something unbelievable. He suddenly ran recklessly towards Yutakin. It seemed that this was premeditated. He had been very quiet all this time, quietly waiting for an opportunity to get him out of danger. Compared to the uncertain situation of the deal later, Yanni knew that he had to escape to win the last chance of survival. Bigger, who had always thought that he was smarter than anyone else, did not think of this step. If he also ran out, Su Yun and the others would be completely screwed. They had hostages, and the other side had no bargaining chips. What was the point of the deal? Yen Long would definitely surrender immediately. Yutakin glanced at Yanni, who had run back, and said nothing. Yanni turned his back and motioned for Yutakin to untie him. Hurry up and untie me. As he spoke, he looked at Bigger with some reluctance, as if to say, if you had been smart enough to escape with me, we would have won today. How clean would that have been? But what awaited him was not the release, but Yutakin's cold-blooded and merciless killing. While Arnie was defenseless, Yutakin suddenly made his move and snapped Arnie's neck. This young man with great potential in General Aid's eyes died at the hands of his own people. Bigger also learned something new today. This incident made him understand that sometimes, not only could one not expose one's back to the enemy, but also to one's own people. This was especially true for a cold-blooded executioner like Yutakin, who did not hesitate to kill his own people. Yudikin naturally had his reasons for doing this. He already had a chance to control Su Yun, and now that Yanni wanted to mess things up, what if Su Yun became angry and changed his mind? He wanted Su Yun, not the hostages, and not their 2 companions. Only by bringing Su Yun back to the general could the mission be considered complete. Yudikin could not accept Yanni's actions at all, so he did not hesitate at all when he killed him. He killed without hesitation, without hesitation. Captain Yen Long, I'm sincere enough, Yudikin said. Since we've already agreed on a deal, no one can change it, and no one can go back on their word. Even if he's one of my people, if he wants to cause trouble, I won't give him the chance. I want to make a fair deal with Captain Yen Long. This guy was really ruthless. He even had such a dignified reason for killing. Su Yun took a deep breath. Perhaps this person was even more difficult to deal with than Christian and Jefferson. General Aid's secret agents were really ruthless. Chapter 1435. His opponent was someone who didn't even show any mercy to his own people. Su Yun realized that he might really be facing a big problem. Yu Jiaqian could not breathe as she watched a living person's neck being broken right in front of her eyes. A few minutes ago, she had thought that this was a gentleman who would not do anything to hurt her, but now she understood what it meant to know a person for a long time without knowing his true nature. Seeing Yanni fall to the ground and not move at all, Bigger took a deep breath. He felt his temples throbbing, and the deep pain made him very uncomfortable. He did not understand why Judikin would do this to Yanni. It made him feel a strong sense of fear. If he had been the one to run away, he would have ended up like Yanni. Why? Why would he do this to his own people? They were already fighting away from home in Huaxia. How could Judikin still have such a strong desire to kill? This was not what he wanted to see. Once his own people were in chaos, how could he hope to fight against Su Yun? Bigger, Yanni's actions just now will destroy the trust between us and Captain Yen Long. I will not allow this to happen. Judikin could see Bigger's hesitation and doubt. Everything I do is for the sake of the goal. You should know how the general feels about Captain Yen Long. As long as Captain Yen Long is willing to cooperate with us, the general will not hesitate to sacrifice any of us. Yanni's actions just now went against the general's intentions. Yes, I understand the general's intentions. The general thinks highly of Captain Yen Long, but he did not ask you to do this to your own people. Bigger was hesitant about whether he should cooperate with Judikin. He did not want to be stabbed in the back by his own people. Judikin frowned. Do you know who is in the most danger if the trust between me and Captain Yen Long is broken? It's you. I stopped things from going bad. I hope you can understand my good intentions. As for Yanni, I am also very sad. After all, he is my friend. But for the sake of the big picture, even if they are my friends and brothers, I will not allow any accidents to happen. Yu Jiaqian's eyes widened as she stared at Yudikin, who had no regard for human life at all. Her lips trembled as she said, "Then you don't have to kill him. He's a human, a living being. You killed him just like that. Have you ever thought that he might still have a family, a lover, and someone who sees him as everything in his life? If you kill him, then what about those people? How can you do this? You are a demon, a devil." Yudikin looked at Yu Jiaqian in disbelief. This girl still had the guts to criticize him. "Miss Yu, don't worry. He's like us. He doesn't have a family, and it's impossible for him to have a lover. His life belonged to the country and the general. It was only right for him to sacrifice himself for the country and the general. It's that simple." Fallacy. Ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Yu Jiaqian couldn't control her emotions. Her father had also died under this kind of murder, so she was quite conflicted about what was happening in front of her. This kind of behavior that treated human life like grass was something she couldn't accept. But how could Yu Jiaqian's soft words move Yudikin? Human life was like grass. This kind of thinking had been deeply imprinted in Yudikin's mind since he was less than 10 years old. So he didn't think that what he did was wrong. He felt that everything should be like this. As long as it was for victory, even if it was a sacrifice, it should be done. This kind of person couldn't be reasoned with. Su Yun didn't want Yu Jiaqian to reason with him like a normal person. She might even anger him. I'm ready. I'll go to you now. With that, Su Yun turned around to show him his hands that were tied behind his back. This kind of rope was made of special material to deal with people like them. The special material was as tough as steel. After all, ordinary handcuffs and chains couldn't hold masters like them. Yudikin looked at the material of the rope and was satisfied. However, he couldn't see the buckle clearly. He could only use his eyes to tell Biga. Biga had been observing the way the rope was tied. If there was a mechanism that could be easily opened, it would definitely not work. To deal with people like Su Yun, it should be a dead knot that couldn't be opened. Biga nodded. He didn't escape just now because he was carefully observing the way the buckle was tied. Obviously, Su Yun and the others had no intention of playing any tricks. It wasn't a buckle, just like the one he was tied with. It required an extremely sharp dagger to slowly cut the rope made of special material. It was impossible to break it with brute force. Seeing Biga's response, Yudikin was very satisfied. Captain Yen Long is indeed a man of his word. He does what he says. I sincerely admire him for this. I really admire him. Stop with the flattery, Su Yun said coldly. I keep my word. You better keep your word too. Get ready to let her go. With that, Su Yun stepped forward, ready to make the exchange with Yu Jiaqian. He was far more important than a mere hostage like Yu Jiaqian. Hua Xiaolu grabbed Beagle to prevent him from running away like Yanni. If this bargaining chip ran away, there would be no need for Yudikin to keep his promise. Keeping his promise would be a laughable thing. Chen Feng was a little worried. Boss, have you really thought this through? If he doesn't keep his word, you guys kill him immediately. Su Yun glared at Biga. He couldn't tell what kind of person Yudikin was. The chances of him keeping his word were at most 50%. Su Yun realized that ever since he started fighting with General Aid's men, he had fallen in love with gambling. And he was confident that he was right every time. Su Yun's words were not only heard by Yudikin, but also by Biga. Biga had never trusted Yudikin. When he heard Su Yun's words, he immediately had goosebumps. Even if he doesn't keep his word, it's him who doesn't keep his word. What does it have to do with me? I kept my word. I didn't run away just now. You can't do this to me. You can't put the blame on me. Shut up. Hua Xiaolu pressed Biga to the ground. You better pray that your partner doesn't play any tricks. Otherwise, I'll make sure you die a worse death than you can imagine. Biga really didn't like this feeling. His fate was in the hands of an untrustworthy partner. But what could he do? After all, they had started working together after coming to Huaxia. Now that he thought about it, it was all Yudikin's doing. The ones taking the risk were always him and Yanni. This bastard used them as pawns from the start. Yudikin, you have to keep your word. Biga struggled to shout his last words. Yudikin laughed coldly. Whether he kept his word or not, it was up to him. If you had the same reaction speed as Yanni and escaped together, you wouldn't have ended up like this. I wouldn't have killed Yanni either. You made the mistake, so you have to bear the consequences. Seeing Su Yun walk closer and closer, Yudikin's heart surged. His plan was about to succeed. As long as he took down Su Yun, left Huaxia as soon as possible, and contacted the general at the military base in Dongying, then everything would be over. Chapter 1436. Yu Jiaqian's mind was blank. She did not know what kind of disaster Su Yun would bring if he was controlled by the other party. However, she was certain that Su Yun and the other party were not simple people. Their identities must be very special. If Su Yun was controlled by the other party, the consequences would be irreparable. Therefore, she had to stop this matter. Su Yun. No. I don't need you to save me. I already know that the people who killed my father are with these people. Yu Jiaqian said, if their goal is you, and you are now captured without a fight, then they will be the ones to win. I can't just watch them win. Even if I, Yu Jiaqian, can only live until today, I want to see these bad guys be subdued by you. This is the result I want to see. Su Yun's expression was still cold. He ignored Yu Jiaqian's request. You just need to do as I say. Go to my 2 brothers immediately and let them take you away quickly. Our organization will definitely arrange for people to protect you. Before this matter is over, they will keep you safe. Don't worry and leave. I'm fine. No, if they want to take you there, I'll go with you, Yu Jiaqian said innocently. She did not realize how dangerous this matter was. Hearing this, Yutakin laughed wildly. Captain Yanlong, it's not that I don't keep my word. I let her go, but she refused to go and insisted on staying with you. How infatuated. This is your fortune, Captain Yanlong. I'm really envious. No woman in my life has ever treated me like this. However, I heard that there are more than 1 or 2 women who would give up their lives for you, Captain Yanlong. Without waiting for Su Yun to speak, Beagle scolded from behind. Yutakin. Let that woman go and let her take my place. I'll give you a piece of advice. You can't deal with Yanlong alone. You need someone who can help you. Otherwise, even if you control Yanlong, it won't be easy for you to escape from Huaxia unscathed. Of course I know that. I don't want my companions to make any more sacrifices. But as you can see, it's not that I don't want to let them go, it's this woman who doesn't want to leave. Yutakin laughed. Is it because of my charm? If that's the case, then I really don't know what to do. If she insists on staying, what do you think I should do? Yutakin, have you been plotting against us since the beginning? I can give you all the credit. I beg you, you must send this woman to me. Bigger was terrified. Hua Xiaolu could kill him at any time. Su Yun had already given the order to kill him. They were all professional soldiers. Obeying orders was a basic quality. Therefore, his life was completely in Yu Jiaqian's hands. If Yu Jiaqian didn't come over, the other party would definitely kill him. There was no doubt about that. If he wanted to live, that woman was the key. Bigger was forced into a desperate situation. Yutakin, you can't leave me to die. Yutakin knew that he had done enough. If this continued, it would be too much. He didn't intend to let Bigger die. Just as Bigger said, he did need someone's help to leave Huaxia. Otherwise, even if he controlled Su Yun, he would still die if he couldn't leave Huaxia. General Ode wanted him alive. He was very sure of that, so he definitely couldn't kill Su Yun. Yutakin suddenly attacked. A sharp dagger appeared in his hand and he pressed it against Su Yun's throat. Yu Jiaqian was shocked. This person only needed to move his wrist and Su Yun would die. Now, Su Yun had no chance of resisting at all. His hands were tied behind his back. What the F***ck do you mean? Hua Xiaolu was also anxious. The dagger had already pierced Bigger's skin. Scarlet blood seeped out. It was a ghastly sight. Bigger held his breath. He could only resign himself to his fate and prepare to die at any time. Now, the other party only needed to move a finger and he would die without a doubt. It was that simple. Thinking about those who used to have their fates in their hands, Bigger suddenly felt that he was really pitiful. Miss Yu, I order you to go back immediately and take my people back, Yutakin finally said. Yutakin finally spoke. If you don't leave, then don't blame me for being rude to the Flame Dragon Captain. If you want him to be safe, then go back and make sure my people return safely. Yu Jiaqian was completely flustered. She kept shaking her head and retreating step by step. She kept murmuring, "No, no, don't hurt him." Yutakin was obviously just trying to scare her. Su Yun and Bigger could see that, but Yu Jiaqian could not. Yu Jiaqian retreated bit by bit. She could not just watch Su Yun get hurt. Even if the person asked her to jump into the reservoir, Yu Jiaqian, who could not swim, would jump in without hesitation. Su Yun silently watched Yu Jiaqian retreat. As long as Yu Jiaqian left, he was relieved. With Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu's abilities, they could safely take her away. The heavy stone in his heart had finally been lifted. When Yu Jiaqian was halfway back, Yudikin raised his voice and shouted, "Now it's your turn to let her go. My friends are still under your control. Shouldn't you let me breathe a sigh of relief?" Hua Xiaolu looked at Su Yun's calm gaze from afar. He gritted his teeth and let go of Bigger. Bigger, who was finally free, quickly ran in Yudikin's direction. Even though his feet were restrained, his speed was definitely comparable to Yanni's speed just now. The power to escape was immense. It could allow a person to quickly break through their limits in a short period of time. As soon as Bigger ran, Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu quickly went forward to welcome Yu Jiaqian, afraid that the other party would play any tricks. "Take her away from here immediately. This is an order," Su Yun finally said to his two brothers. In order to shut Su Yun up, Yudikin raised his knee and hit Su Yun's lower abdomen. After Su Yun endured the pain, Yudikin wrapped a strong bandage that he had already prepared in his hand around Su Yun's mouth. Su Yun could no longer say another word. Fortunately, Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu understood Su Yun's intentions. Without hesitation, they quickly took Yu Jiaqian and left. Yu Jiaqian was exchanged with Su Yun's own life. If he could not ensure her safety, then Su Yun's efforts would have been in vain. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu quickened their pace and left the sand reservoir as quickly as they could. At this time, the slow roar of a car gave them hope. Reinforcements had finally arrived. If not for the fact that this place was too remote, reinforcements would have already arrived. Several cars and more than 20 Special Forces members quickly entered combat mode under clear instructions. Based on the first information given by Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu, they directly surrounded the sand reservoir. The frightened Yu Jiaqian was immediately sent back for a checkup. Sometimes, mental trauma was far more difficult to recover from than physical trauma. Therefore, they had to personally check Yu Jiaqian's mental state. If she needed treatment, the Dragon Brigade would provide the best medical conditions. After all, this innocent girl was involved in their battle. Everyone in the Dragon Brigade had the responsibility to ensure Yu Jiaqian's safety. Chapter 1437. Although the reinforcements arrived in time, when they surrounded the warehouse and were about to rescue Su Yun, they found that he had already disappeared. The other party's speed of retreat was really fast. Su Yun was subdued and he was no match for the two people, so he could only let them take him away. Therefore, even if the reinforcements arrived at the scene, it would be of no help. Qian Feng slammed his fist on the wall in frustration. Boss was in such a predicament because he, as a brother, was useless. If he could delay the other party for a few more minutes, things wouldn't have turned out like this. Hua Xiaolu patted him on the shoulder, indicating that he shouldn't think too much. He believed that escaping with Yu Jiaqian as quickly as possible was what Boss wanted to see. After figuring out what happened, everyone comforted Qian Feng to not think too badly of the situation. Since the other party didn't do anything to Su Yun on the spot, it seemed that they didn't want Su Yun to die. As long as Su Yun was still alive, they had a chance. After all, this was Hua Xia, their territory. As long as they were still in Hua Xia, they definitely wouldn't let them leave. The entire Dragon Brigade was mobilized. Now, nothing was important. As for whether there were other agents active in Hua Xia, it didn't matter. Finding Su Yun was the most important task. The entire police force in Yanjing was mobilized. Some people were still asleep when they were yelled at by their leaders on the phone. They were completely in a semi-conscious state and began to concentrate on blocking all the major highways and intersections in Yanjing to investigate one by one. There were already a lot of cars in Yanjing, so it wasn't easy to investigate. Even in the middle of the night, several major roads were congested, causing many drivers to wail. However, they could only let them down. After an entire night of investigation, all the major roads and intersections had no news or results. However, there were quite a few drivers who were caught overloading and drunk driving. These drivers who were caught violating the rules were all given the most severe punishment. Who asked them to be so unlucky to be caught at this critical juncture? But then again, if they hadn't broken the law, they wouldn't have been punished like this. Seeing that the sky was already bright, the members of the Dragon Fury team, who hadn't slept a wink all night, were a little listless. If they really let the other party escape, then they really wouldn't be able to find him. Matthew, who knew that something had happened to Su Yun, couldn't hold back anymore. He had sought out Wan Guangxiao many times, trying to persuade him to let him contact General Ade. He would communicate with him about Su Yun. However, Wan Guangxiao had rejected him very straightforwardly. He wouldn't let Matthew do this. Ade was a cunning old fox. Wan Guangxiao had also guessed the old fox's true intentions and intentions. Presumably, this old fox wanted to keep Su Yun alive. If he could use him, he would definitely be overjoyed. Che could also use Su Yun to trick Matthew. This way, he could kill two birds with one stone. Wan Guangxiao didn't want Matthew to contact Adler because he wanted to prevent Matthew from being fooled by Adler. Teacher Zhao wasn't the only one who was good at fooling people. Adler was an old fox who knew the essence of fooling people. He could find a person's weakness in the shortest amount of time and seize the person's psychological weakness in the shortest amount of time to carry out a psychological attack. This allowed him to brainwash people in a very short amount of time. Of course, Wan Guangxiao didn't let Matthew contact General Ade because he trusted Su Yun. Obviously, they couldn't find him. Maybe Su Yun was dealing with the other party in some way. This was all unknown. Wan Guangxiao didn't believe that the proudest of his soldiers couldn't even solve such a small matter. It had to be known that Su Yun had faced more dangerous situations than this in the past. In the end, didn't he solve them smoothly? Matthew, don't interfere in this matter, Wan Guangxiao said. If you treat Su Yun as a brother, then you should trust him. Right now, Ade, that old fox, is bent on getting you back to the United States. Su Yun definitely won't let him succeed. I watched him grow up when he was very young. I know him. He's smarter than any of us think. He knows what he should do and what he shouldn't do. Matthew was stunned. Chief, you mean that Brother Yun was captured by their people because he wanted to do it first? Wan Guangxiao didn't nod or deny it. I'm afraid only Su Yun himself knows what he's thinking. I just think that with Su Yun's ability, if he wanted to rescue the hostages and escape unscathed today, it shouldn't be impossible. And he chose to use himself as a bargaining chip. Did he really do it on purpose? Matthew was very surprised, but he didn't doubt Wan Guangxiao's words. The Su Yun he knew was really that daring. Sometimes, he even acted recklessly. But in the end, he could always prove to them what it meant to be daring. He could always turn danger into safety at the crucial moment. And this time, Su Yun didn't get out of danger at the crucial moment. Did he do it on purpose? If Su Yun did it on purpose, then what was his purpose? Was he so sure that General Ade wouldn't give him the order to kill him? He heard from Chen Feng and Hua Xiaolu that Su Yun's hands couldn't break free. What if the people who captured him got the order to kill from General Ade? Wouldn't Su Yun be completely in danger? When Matthew expressed his thoughts to Wan Guangxiao nodded. Then you can't let Ade contact you. Why? Matthew didn't understand. If he could get in touch with General Ade, maybe he could say something. After all, they had met once in the United States. He also knew that General Ade admired him. He could help Su Yun more or less, right? Wan Guangxiao shook his head helplessly. It was said that people who read too much would become stupid. It was a pity that Matthew was so smart. How could he be so stubborn when it came to these things? He really couldn't understand the reason behind it. Matthew, listen to me. Wan Guangxiao said, Ade's purpose of capturing Su Yun is you, right? Otherwise, why would he spend so much effort? Looking for excitement? Many people under him died. Those who were caught by us will be severely punished. He paid such a big price to capture Su Yun just to use Su Yun to threaten you. Do you understand? Matthew nodded. He could think of this point. It was because General Ade wanted to use Su Yun to threaten him, so he had to get in touch with him. This way, he could ensure Su Yun's safety. You can't let Ade contact you now. Once he contacts you, he will have the value of using Su Yun to threaten you. If he can't contact you, what can he do if he captures Su Yun? If he can't contact you, he can't threaten you. On the contrary, Su Yun is safe. Wan Guangxiao said, but once he contacts you, the threat really exists. If he uses Su Yun's death to threaten you to do something you don't like to do, what will you do? Matthew didn't hesitate at all. Agree to him. As long as he lets Su Yun go. Wan Guangxiao nodded and continued, then, if I were Ade, I would threaten you to go back to America. He knows that Hua Xia won't force you to stay. If you say you want to leave, we won't force you to stay. Matthew was stunned. He didn't know what to do. With your relationship with Su Yun, and the gratitude and guilt you have for Su Yun in your heart, you will do anything to exchange for him. Wan Guangxiao continued to analyze. But once you go, he won't let Su Yun go. He will tell Su Yun that if he doesn't want to see you die, then stay and help him. Matthew took a deep breath. He didn't think of these things at all. This society was full of deception. He couldn't accept it for a while. Chapter 1438. Yanjing City had not been peaceful for the past few days, so much so that the citizens were aware of the existence of danger. If the investigation continued, it would cause social unrest. Therefore, this matter had to be stopped. For the stability and harmony of society, it had to be stopped. After receiving the order to stop the investigation, many people did not understand. There were people like Hua Leiteng and Han Zhan who were silent. Even if they did not understand, they would still listen to the arrangement. Of course, there were also people like Qian Feng who were radical. When they heard this decision, they almost cursed. What did this mean? Were they going to throw their boss's life aside and not care about it? What kind of joke was this? Their boss had done so much for the country. Now that something had happened to him, they could not ignore it even if they had to waste more energy. Wan Guangxiao personally explained to them why they had to stop the investigation, but Qian Feng did not listen. Left with no choice, Wan Guangxiao could only order Qian Feng to be confined. Qian Feng was also stubborn. He said that unless he was confined to death, he would look for the higher-ups and have a good talk with them once he was released. As the leader, Wan Guangxiao had no choice. He could only pat his shoulder and hand this matter to Han Zhan. He hoped that he could persuade Qian Feng, this straightforward fellow, to not find trouble with the higher-ups after he was released. That would be defying their superiors and would be punished severely. Being impulsive could even ruin his future. After all, there were many things in this world that could not be done as one wished. Feng, the team has locked you up for a reason. It is also for your own good. Han Zhan squatted outside the confinement room. I understand what you are thinking right now. I am the same. I am not much more comfortable than you. But I believe our boss definitely has more ways than us. I believe that he is blessed by the heavens. You are just deceiving yourself. Qian Feng heard Han Zhan's voice outside. He was angry and complained, you know better than anyone how our boss treats you. Now that the country wants to give up on him, you can tolerate it? Let me tell you, the team can punish him, they can fire him, they can do anything to our boss, but they cannot abandon him. What did he mean by not abandoning and not giving up? Was this what he meant by not abandoning and not giving up? Bull ****. Lower your voice. Han Zhan frowned. Things aren't as simple as you think. The decision made by the higher-ups must have been carefully considered. He definitely wouldn't give such an order so casually. Qian Feng didn't listen to any of this. I don't care if they've considered anything or not. As long as they give up on our boss, they're going against their word. Our boss has to clean up after them for so many things. If it wasn't for our boss, would the country be so peaceful? How could she abandon him at such a crucial time? I don't care what they say, I won't understand. I'm just like this. At most, they can just shoot me. Han Zhan really had to hand it to this guy. If you say these things again, then you'll really be shot to death. You're pretty good, kid. Every one of us, including our boss, ever since we became part of the Dragon Fury team, our lives belong to our country. If the country needs us, we must give our all without any regrets. A soldier's duty was to obey orders. This is our belief. How can you not remember it? Qian Feng was silent for a long time in the holding cell. In the darkness, Han Zhan could hear the sound of sobbing in the holding cell. These iron-blooded men had always bled and never shed tears. What did it mean to be able to shed tears? Han Zhan wanted to say something, but it was as if there was a fishbone stuck in his throat. He couldn't speak at all. He was also sullen in his heart. After all, the person who ordered them to stop the search and rescue was the person he admired the most in his life. He was his life and death brother. He was Su Yun, who had led them through life and death for so many years. At every critical moment, he would not hesitate to use his own life as the price to protect them. Although he had never verbally opposed any orders from the organization and had always obeyed orders, his heart could not be changed. His thoughts could not be eradicated. How could he not feel as sad as Qian Feng? How could he not question and question like Qian Feng? Why did the higher-ups make such a decision? A decision that went against the spirit of never give up and never give up. Why? If it wasn't for his identity, his mission, and his natural duty, Han Zhan would really explode. He had always been the most stable of the brothers in the Dragon Fury team. If even his heart could bear such torment, he believed that everyone else would also be suppressing their anger over this matter. Besides them, Yu Meiren also fell silent after receiving the news. She had not touched a drop of water since noon. When the medical team leader saw her like this, he knew that she was not feeling well and asked her to rest. However, she did not return to the dormitory. She just sat in the office, not crying or laughing. She did not talk to anyone. She was in a daze. She did not dare to return to the dormitory because there were too many beautiful memories of her and Su Yun. These memories would probably be her belief in living for the rest of her life. She did not want to shatter the existence of those memories. Wan Guangxiao was also in a difficult position. He knew that the price of this decision was to sacrifice the emotions of his group of iron-blooded men in exchange for social stability. But there was no other way. They were members of the Special Forces. All the unhappiness should be borne by them. The common people should live comfortably, and they should live in vexation. In fact, no one was more vexed and infuriated than Wan Guangxiao. Not only did he have to do this, but he also had to control these men who had been tortured by psychological pressure to obey this damn order. In his position, it was even more difficult. It was really difficult, really difficult. Han Zhan had already bitten his lower lip until it bled. He was heartbroken. He did not know how to comfort Qian Feng, so he was heartbroken. At this moment, a pair of strong hands patted him on the shoulder. Han Zhan was completely immersed in his own spiritual world and did not notice the situation around him at all. When he suddenly came back to his senses, he realized that the person sitting next to him and putting his hand on his shoulder was Wang Yi. Shizhuan. Han Zhan's Adam's apple moved. He tried his best not to let Wang Yi see his emotions. It was not that he was afraid, but he did not want Wang Yi to be affected by his emotions. Su Yun was raised by him single-handedly, and he was the child of an old friend. Now that he was abandoned just like that, the person who could not accept this fact the most would probably be him. Qian Feng heard the sound outside and knew that Wang Yi had come. He slammed his fist on the iron door of the detention room. Shizhuan, go and talk to the chief. We will investigate this matter ourselves. We don't need the police's help. This should be fine, right? We will investigate in secret. This will not cause social instability. Qian Feng. Wang Yi was silent for a few seconds before he suddenly opened his mouth. Tell me, in the entire Dragon Brigade, who knows Su Yun the best? Qian Feng and Han Zhan were silent for a while. Soon, Han Zhan's gaze fell on Wang Yi. Did it even need to be said? Qian Feng also replied from inside the detention room, "Of course it's Shizhuan." "That's good. Then I believe that you will definitely believe what I said." Wang Yi smiled slightly. He could not show the bitterness in his heart in front of these two wrong children in his eyes. "I know him better than any of you. So I believe that this time, we couldn't find him because he wanted to do this. Otherwise, even if his hands were tied up, he would still have a way to leave behind clues for us." "Do you believe that?" This was definitely an earth-shattering and bold guess. In the detention room, Qian Feng suddenly stood up. He did not know whether he should believe it or not, but Wang Yi's words made him feel inexplicably excited. It was the kind of excitement that rekindled hope. Han Zhan also opened his eyes wide and looked at Wang Yi. He was shocked by his Shizhuan's bold words and actions. Could it be that boss really did this on purpose? Then why did he do it? Han Zhan could not understand at all. Chapter 1439. Su Yun's life in the past 2 days was not bad. At least, he did not have to worry about food and drink. Judikin and Beeger took good care of him. Of course, this care was not voluntary. Of course, there were conditions. For the two of them to be able to avoid such an intensive search and be able to hide in Yanjing until now, they really had to thank Su Yun. If it wasn't for Su Yun's understanding of his people's way of doing things, allowing the two of them to avoid all the scrutiny, the two of them might really have to waste a lot of energy to avoid these troubles. In the face of Su Yun's cooperative performance, Judikin and Beeger naturally had to express their gratitude to Su Yun through their actions. No matter what material request Su Yun had, they would satisfy it. If Su Yun wanted to eat something, one of them would definitely run an errand to solve the problem. Ever since the first day after the search order was revoked, Su Yun said that he missed Quanjude's ducks. Judikin did not say anything and asked Beeger to buy some for him. Although there was no superior and subordinate relationship between the two of them, Judikin felt that he was indebted to Beeger for saving his life, so he did not hesitate to order him around. Although Beeger was not happy with Judikin's orders, he did not refuse. He also had his own thoughts. He felt that it was definitely a challenge to guard Su Yun alone. If he was not careful and let him escape, then he would have made a big mistake. Now that General Ade already knew that they had succeeded, Judikin wanted to take credit for it. The moment he escaped from the desert reservoir, he made a video call to General Ade so that General Ade could see that Su Yun was in his hands. Therefore, when Beeger went to sell the roast duck, he thought that if Su Yun escaped at this time, then Judikin would have committed a huge crime of negligence. The general would not let him off easily. Therefore, it was safer to run errands. At least, it would not be risky. After all, Hua Xiao's search was only limited to the people of the Dragon Brigade who were a threat. Because they were too dangerous, no arrest warrant was issued, so he was not considered to be in any particular danger. Even if there were a sea of people in Quanjude, no one could recognize who Beeger was. Other than the fact that Beeger was a little unhappy about waiting in line, everything else was normal. The fatty roast duck was indeed fragrant. The skills of the knife master were very important. He had to make sure that every slice of roast duck was covered with skin, meat, and a little fat. This kind of roast duck was dipped in sauce, added with a few slices of chopped scallions, and stuffed directly into the mouth of the thin round pancake. The taste was amazing. Although the food of the Dragon Brigade's daily was good, their roast duck. Therefore, when Judikin asked Su Yun what he wanted to eat, the first thing that came to Su Yun's mind was Quanjude's roast duck. Judikin and Beeger had not eaten either, but they did not have the time to eat by themselves. Su Yun's hands were still tied, so he could only order the two of them to feed him the bread. Su Yun ate the bread alone, so the two of them did not even have the chance to try it. It could not be helped. Su Yun was a VIP that General Ade had mentioned over the phone. He had asked the two of them to take good care of him. Moreover, as long as they served him well, Su Yun had no intention of causing trouble. He was very cooperative, so the two of them could only bear with it and let Su Yun order them around. In exchange, Su Yun was able to accurately predict the actions of their own people. This was a great reward for Judikin and Beeger. By the time Su Yun was full, the 2 Quanjued roast ducks were almost completely devoid of good meat. Judikin and Beeger could only hold a duck that was mostly bones each and munch on it. The 2 of them knew that it was not that they did not buy enough, but that no matter how much they bought, Su Yun would order them to cook for him. This was something that Su Yun did on purpose. It had nothing to do with his appetite. Take your time, brothers. How is it? Isn't our Yenjing roast duck the best in the world? Su Yun savored the aftertaste in his mouth and said to Beeger, "Give me a tissue to wipe my mouth. It's so oily and uncomfortable." No matter how unhappy Beeger was, he had to do it. Serving Su Yun for the past 2 days had become a habit for him. It was as if he was born to do it. Judikin nodded. Yenjing roast ducks live up to their reputation. It's the most delicious roast duck I've ever had in the world. Judikin's words were true, but also meant to flatter. He needed Su Yun to make some judgments, so he had to say things that Su Yun liked to hear. Su Yun shrugged. "I know you're the weakest. Even if it's delicious, I'm the one who says it's delicious. You're eating bones. There's not even a basic texture, let alone taste. How can it be delicious?" Judikin laughed awkwardly. If not for the fact that he needed Su Yun to lead them out of Yenjing, he would not have given Su Yun face. "Captain Yen Long, you don't know, but I've loved eating bones since I was young. Whether it's pork bones, cow bones, or chicken bones, I like to eat all kinds of bones. So I think this duck bone is very delicious, especially the burnt parts. It's crispy and delicious." "Aya, why didn't you say so earlier? I asked you to buy the chicken feet with pickled peppers yesterday. I almost vomited the bones." Su Yun said, "How about this, next time you buy it, I'll save the bones for you." Judikin's mouth twitched. "Ha. Ha. But I don't really like chili." "Then buy normal chicken feet." Su Yun was determined to teach him a lesson. Actually, the most nutritious thing is fish bones. Seeing that Judikin's flattery had backfired, Beagle mocked, "Yes, Judikin likes to eat fish bones the most. The sharper the bones, the more he likes to eat them. We all know that." Judikin glared at Bigger and did not continue the topic. He directly said to Su Yun, "Captain Yen Long, we feel that we have a good cooperation. Now that the search on us has been cancelled, it means that your people have given up on you. Just cooperate with us and tell us the safest way to leave Yenjing." "I said that they will cancel the search on you and give up on me," Su Yun said. "Only then can you escape unscathed. I can cooperate with you, but you have to at least tell me what you plan to do after leaving Yenjing, right? If you leave Yenjing, you still won't be able to escape successfully. Once I'm caught with you, I'll be charged with treason. That will be troublesome." No, as long as we leave Yenjing, we'll have a plan," Judikin said. "Don't worry, we won't let you be charged with treason." Su Yun smiled. "Since I've already agreed to go with you to see the general, you don't want to untie me. That's understandable. But I'll help you leave Yenjing safely, and you won't even tell me your plan to leave. So why should I trust you? As I said before, trust is mutual. There's no harm in telling you." Bigger looked at Judikin, questioning him with his eyes. What was there to hide from someone whose hands were bound and had completely lost the will to resist? Even if he knew, what could he do? "We'll take the water," Judikin said. "We'll go to a military base in Japan, and we'll be able to escape there." Chapter 1440. Su Yun gave him a thumbs up. "Your plan is really perfect. Compared to Jefferson and Christian, who fell into my hands before, you guys must be better agents in the eyes of the general. Needless to say, there's no doubt about it." Judikin answered confidently. He even showed off his Mandarin vocabulary and came up with an idiom to show off that he was better than the others in all aspects. Judikin was proficient in multiple languages, not because he received systematic training from the general, but because he was forced to learn it on the pirate ship. It was a skill he used to communicate with passengers on large cruise ships. If he did not learn this language skill well, the captain would make him die a horrible death. Beagle was still very disdainful of Judikin's showing off. Ever since they escaped from the desert reservoir, the two of them had been at odds. Although neither of them showed anything on the surface, Su Yun could clearly feel the distrust between the two of them. All kinds of scheming were going on invisibly. Su Yun would not expose this. This was his opportunity. The worse the situation between the two of them, the better it would be for him. Yes, Yudikin is the most powerful man in front of our general, Beagle said. Who can compare to him? Even if all of us combined, I'm afraid we won't be as good as him in front of the general. Why do I hear a sense of irony in your words? Su Yun laughed and joked. Don't tell me you're jealous of him? Ha 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 ha, you're all on the same side. Don't trip each other up over such a small matter. Although Su Yun seemed to be joking, Su Yun easily achieved his goal. He wanted to unknowingly add fuel to the fire and create a strong sense of rejection between the two of them. Once the rejection reached a certain level, the two of them would naturally trigger a conflict that could not be ignored. At that time, there would be a good show to watch. Indeed, the reason why Su Yun cooperated with the two of them to control him was because they wanted to follow the vine to get to the melon. It was no secret that the United States carried out secret espionage activities in various countries around the world. They could always do it without leaving a trace, making it extremely difficult for others to catch them. It must be because they could find a foothold in the countries they invaded to carry out espionage activities. The Americans' base of operations was in Japan. This was something that the whole world knew. The Japanese were thick-skinned. Although they had ambushed Pearl Harbor and caused the Americans to suffer a lot in the Pacific War, ever since the two bombs exploded in Japan, the Japanese were completely obedient. Now, the Japanese were very close to their beautiful father. He didn't know if it was because the fear of nuclear radiation had completely conquered the Japanese, or if the Japanese themselves were despicable. If he didn't teach them a lesson, they wouldn't know what was good for them. However, this was not a secret. Although many people knew about it, there was nothing they could do without evidence. Su Yun's choice to obey the two of them was a last-minute decision. Therefore, the brothers of Dragon's Fury did not know what he was thinking, which caused them to feel aggrieved. Su Yun had no choice. He knew better than anyone else who was more important. If Yudikin and Beagle wanted to leave Hua Xia unscathed, they had to find their transit station. The transit station definitely existed, and the biggest suspect was Japan. However, before the two of them admitted it, everything was Su Yun's guess. After all, it was not only Japan who was suspicious, but Korea and Mongolia were also suspicious. It was hard to say for sure in international affairs, and it was even more so between countries. There was no such thing as eternal enemies or eternal friends. Japan and America were enemies from the start. If one side completely beat the other, the loser would become a dog. There was also Yu Country, which was originally a friend of Huaxia. When Yu Country was bullied, Huaxia would also help. However, mad dogs were often sick. It was very likely that they would turn around and bite you after you helped them. When the forest was big, there were all kinds of birds. When the world was big, there were all kinds of countries. If the two of them could cooperate and focus on Su Yun, it would be difficult for Su Yun's plan to succeed. However, the two of them were now half focused on each other and were wary of each other. Therefore, they weakened their surveillance of Su Yun. Although Su Yun could not do anything blatant, he could use psychological tactics and use the psychological advantage to break down the two of them. Su Yun's words must have worked. Yudikin rolled his eyes at Bigger and turned to Su Yun. I'm not as narrow-minded as some people. If they want to be jealous, so be it. Ability was something that was proven through strength, not through bragging. It's not my fault that people are jealous of me. It's because I'm too capable. Why isn't anyone jealous of those street people who rely on the government's support every day? The more they are jealous, the more successful they are. I agree with this theory. Su Yun said, ability is ability. In that case, there really isn't anyone under the general that you would be jealous of. You really are the general's strongest agent. Ha ha ha, maybe. Yudikin liked to hear such compliments. Although it might not be the truth, most people like to hear compliments, just like how most people would be envious or jealous of those who were stronger than them. It was a natural emotion. Bigger, who had been a little unhappy with Utikin, finally seized the opportunity. Utikin, you dare to admit this? Where do you put Officer Holly? Below you. Ha ha ha. If these words were to be heard by others, wouldn't they become a laughingstock? After saying that, Bigger deliberately showed off his Chinese and used an idiom to announce that his language skills were not bad. Captain Yen Long, is there an idiom in Hua Xia that goes overconfident? Su Yun nodded. Yes, there is such an idiom. I didn't expect your Chinese to be so good. I wouldn't dare to say that it's good, but all the agents under the general know Chinese. Bigger said and deliberately said, but I'm not as proficient as some people. There's no doubt about that. Although I know the idiom, overconfident, I don't really understand what it means. I wonder if Captain Yen Long can explain it to me? Su Yun laughed in his heart. These two guys were really interesting. Of course, there's no problem. Overconfident means that one can't accurately estimate one's own strength. It describes a person who overestimates himself. For example, a mantis trying to stop a chariot or an ant trying to shake a tree. What you do is overconfident. Oh, I see. A mantis trying to stop a chariot or an ant trying to shake a tree. Hua Xia culture is really grand. Such an apt description is really admirable. Bigger said, it seems that the no doubt I know about Hua Xia culture is just the tip of the iceberg. Bigger used the idiom that Utikin had used twice in a row. Each time, he deliberately raised the pitch of his words. This provocation was very obvious. Utikin's face darkened. He did not even look at Bigger. He actually brought up Officer Holly. After all, Officer Holly was the general's most capable man. Who would dare to be compared to him? Humph, they were not even on the same level. This was equivalent to comparing an amateur boxer with a professional boxing champion. There was no comparison at all. Beagle was a complete idiot. Bigger, why don't you just bring up the general? Don't you think that comparing Officer Holly to us is an insult to Officer Holly? Utikin sneered. You know that Officer Holly is not someone who likes to joke. Bigger was stunned. There's no need to talk to Officer Holly about what's between us, right? Utikin, there's no point in talking like this. Maybe, but Officer Holly has always liked to chat with me. I'm really afraid that one day I'll accidentally say what you mean. Utikin shrugged as if he was threatening Bigger. Bigger's expression was a little awkward. You know I didn't mean anything. I was just targeting you. I definitely wasn't targeting Officer Holly. Utikin snorted. You really have something against me? Bigger, you'd better think carefully. You were a prisoner of war. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be standing here. I could have not saved you back then. Do you understand? You owe me. Bigger turned his head and did not say anything else. This guy would definitely use this to pressure him. When the mission was over, he would settle the score with him. Chapter 1441. Cooking beans and burning bean stalks, the beans weep in the pot. Born from the same root, there's no need to be in such a hurry. Su Yun smiled and brought up Chao Ji's famous seven-step poem. When it came to Chinese, it was already very good to be able to use a few idioms. The two men were dumbfounded. They really did not understand the ancient classical sentence at all, but it was probably only the Hua Xia people who could rhyme so well. When it came to language skills in the world, there was really no country better than the Hua Xia people. English only had a few letters, and learning English was as easy as learning pinyin in Hua Xia kindergarten. Chinese, on the other hand, was much more complicated. There were pinyin, simplified, traditional, classical, network. There were all kinds of forms. Not only could the foreigners not understand them, even the Hua Xia people could not understand them. The new words that came out every year were simply overwhelming. Now, even I'll treat you to spicy hot pot had become I'll *CKU 13 times. The foreigners wanted to show off their Chinese skills in front of Su Yun, but they were just showing off in front of an expert. They were just asking to be humiliated. Yeah, There's no need to be in such a hurry. Judikin also did not understand the meaning of Su Yun's 7-step poem, so he could only go along with it. He just did not want to embarrass himself in front of Bigger. Bigger also did not know what "there's no need to be in such a hurry" meant. When he heard Judikin's words, he also went along with it. Okay, there's no need to be in such a hurry. Judikin, I don't mean anything against you. Before the mission is completed, let's shake hands and make peace. Captain Yen Long has been so cooperative with us, let's not make a fool of ourselves in front of him. Judikin had indeed shaken hands with Beagle, but Judikin's ability to speak was a little low. What he said could easily be misunderstood. Perhaps he did not mean it that way, but Judikin deliberately left the words, "before the mission is completed," in the listener's mind. What he meant was that after the mission was completed, there would still be a debt between them. This would definitely make Judikin feel a strong sense of crisis because he had gone too far. Only Judikin had seen him kill Yanni. If he told this to the general and the general believed him, what kind of punishment would he face? The general was not a soft-hearted person. Since Arnie was adopted by the general at such a young age, there must have been a certain degree of affection between the two of them. After all, affection did not only exist between a man and a woman, but also between any person. Even if the general was made of iron and had a heart of steel, after watching Arnie grow up from a child to an adult, there must have been some basic affection between them. This was not a good thing for Judikin. It had only been 5.5 years since he pledged his allegiance to the general. Although it was not the shortest time among these people, it was not the longest either. Judikin knew that Beagle dared to say those words to him just now because Judikin had caught on to his weakness. Now, he was only cooperating with Judikin to find a way to bring the person the general wanted back, then expose him and let the general punish him. By then, all the credit would go to Beagle alone, and Judikin would not get any recognition or reward for what he had worked so hard for. Of course, Judikin, who had figured all this out, would never let Beagle's evil plan succeed. He would never give Judikin a chance to defame him. There was only one way, and that was to make this person disappear before he returned to see the general. They had not yet left Yanjing and Huaxia, and he needed help. No matter how cooperative Su Yun was, he was still an enemy, and no matter how scheming Beagle was with him, he was still one of them. They had the same goal and purpose, at least for now. Judikin was not flustered by the scheming of his own people. His mind was still very clear. However, only one of them was clear, and that would not solve their current problem. Beagle was not as clear-headed as Judikin. He could not sleep the whole night. Judikin was too sinister and too cunning. He did not know when Judikin would deal with him, so he could not sleep peacefully. He was really worried that he would not be able to open his eyes again if he fell asleep. It was another sleepless night. Exhaustion made it difficult for Beagle to open his eyes. He just wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Both he and Judikin focused their attention on Su Yun. "Let go of my hands first," Su Yun said. "How long has it been? If I don't move, I'm afraid my arms will be crippled. The general doesn't want you to bring a crippled person back, right? Ha. If the general knows that you did this when he asked you to take good care of me, I'm afraid you'll end up making a fool of yourself. Your original contribution will be ruined." Su Yun's words made sense, but they did not dare to let him go. There was no trust between them that could be loosened. Judikin and Beagle shook their heads at the same time. On this matter, the two of them were surprisingly united. There was no contradiction at all. "After you let go, tie me up in front. Is that okay?" Su Yun said. "You can't be so inhumane. My arms are really going to die. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made this request. If you don't believe me, you can see for yourself." Judikin looked at Su Yun's arms cautiously. Indeed, they were quite stiff and numb. Perhaps he really could not hold on. "Beagle, you're in charge of keeping an eye on him. I'll loosen Captain Yen Long's arms." Without another word, Beagle took out a dagger and held it against Su Yun's throat. If Su Yun made any strange movements, he would wait a minute. Even if Su Yun struggled, what could he do? Beagle realized that he had fallen into Yudikin's trap again. If Su Yun struggled, he would kill Su Yun. That way, the general would blame him. And if he did not do anything and let Su Yun escape, the general would also blame him. Yudikin, I really can't be careless when working with you. But now, Beagle had nowhere to run. Su Yun's arms had been loosened. He did not know why, but he was so nervous that his forehead was sweating. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. Su Yun did not resist and let Yudikin restrain his arms. Captain Yen Long is indeed a trustworthy person. Su Yun smiled disdainfully. I'm alone. I can't escape from the two of you even if I wanted to. Your worries are completely unnecessary. Can you tell us the safest way to leave Yanjing now? Beagle did not want to stay in Yanjing for another minute. The people searching for them had not made any moves for the entire day. If they waited any longer, they would be worrying for nothing. You can indeed leave today. If you listen to me, you will leave the reservoir where the incident happened. Su Yun, the most dangerous place is the safest place. No one will think that you would dare to go back. Also, if you leave Yanjing from there, you can go directly to the autonomous region of the ethnic minorities. It's safer. You only need to spend one more day to go around Yanjing. If I'm not wrong, you will have to go out to sea at Koto Island, right? Yudikin and Beagle looked at each other for a while, but in the end, they chose to believe in Su Yun. They would do as Su Yun said. After all, they had always trusted him. This last tremble would not make a difference. They would trust him to the end. Chapter 1442. Ever since Su Yun guessed the location where Yudikin and Beagle went to sea, the two men's trust in Su Yun was greatly reduced. Su Yun had too many ideas, and his mind was too agile. This made Yudikin feel deeply uneasy. After leaving Yanjing according to Su Yun's instructions, the three men rented a car in the Manchurian Autonomous Region. They waited until the sky darkened before they set off for Qingdao. Even though Su Yun guessed the destination correctly, the two men did not admit it. But it didn't matter. Su Yun had already confirmed their answer from their eyes. If it wasn't for Qingdao, the two men would not have been so surprised, and they would not have started to be more cautious of him. Yudikin drove the car himself, and Beagle closely watched Su Yun's actions from the back. Neither of them dared to be careless. Just as Beagle stared at Su Yun suddenly stretched out his index finger, slowly raised his wrist, and placed his hand behind the passenger seat. He carefully wrote in English in the air, "Your companion is very scary." Beagle was stunned. He suspected that he was hallucinating, but Su Yun quickly dispelled his doubts and continued to write. Do you remember how he killed his companion? Your friend Yanni didn't even realize that he died at the hands of his own people. Beagle hesitated. He was a little lost. He did not know if he should tell Yudikin to stop the car with Su Yun's behavior. Was Su Yun trying to sow discord? These were all possibilities. He had been in a tense state for so many days. Now that he suddenly relaxed and Su Yun did these actions that he could not understand, he was naturally at a loss. But Su Yun was not in a hurry. He continued to write in English with his finger in the air. Of course, you can choose to tell him, and I will communicate with you. But I am sure that he will not believe you, because from the beginning, he did not intend to let you leave Hua Xiar alive. Beagle's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. It was not that he had never felt this way before. It was not that he had never doubted it, but he had always refused to believe it. But now, he had no choice but to believe it. Even the enemy could see this. Was he going to continue deceiving himself and others? What if Yudikin slit his throat while he was asleep? Would he start to regret it? Beagle, what's wrong? I asked you to take care of Captain Yen Long. Why are you spacing out? Although Yudikin was driving, he would occasionally use the rearview mirror to check the situation in the back seat. This was why Su Yun used the back of the passenger seat to block his hand. Su Yun did not say anything. Now, it was up to Beagle to see what he would do. If Beagle told the truth and said that he was making gestures to badmouth Yudikin, Su-yun would immediately put on a helpless expression and say that he had no idea what Beager was talking about. If Yudikin did not believe him and asked him what he was gesturing in the air, he would say that he was gesturing with a map to calculate the route to Qingdao. If Yudikin still did not believe him, Su-yun could immediately draw several routes from Yanjing to Qingdao with a pen. By then, Beager would have no choice but to believe him. Yudikin's suspicions would immediately shift to Beager, and it would have nothing to do with him. No matter who suspected who, Su-yun had achieved his goal. The lower the trust between the two, the more advantageous it would be for him. However, Beager did not do that. He chose to remain silent. "It's just a headache. Don't worry, just drive. I will take care of Captain Yen Long, don't get distracted, leave it to me." Yudikin frowned and continued driving. He still felt that something was wrong, but he did not notice anything wrong with Beager's words. Perhaps he really did have a headache. After all, they had been in a state of high concentration for so many days. Even if they were not ordinary people, it was inevitable that they would be distracted for a moment. As long as they could regain their focus in time, it would be fine. Anyway, Su-yun's hands were still tied, so there would not be any major problems. Seeing that they had reached Qingdao and found the boat in international waters, they could completely relax. Yudikin did not have the heart to care about anything else. He stepped on the accelerator and continued driving forward. Seeing that Yudikin believed him, Beager continued to lock his eyes on Su-yun. He did not say anything. He just waited quietly for Su-yun to continue writing. Su-yun did not hesitate. He continued to write in the air. The onlooker sees the game better than the player. You are the person involved, so you can't see it clearly. But I can see it clearly. Yudikin does not intend to share the credit with you. He will kill you. Beager frowned. He knew that Su-yun was not lying at all. It was very realistic, but he still wanted to know why Su-yun thought so. His puzzled gaze clearly conveyed what he wanted to express in his heart to Su-yun. Su-yun also wrote without hesitation. Because he killed his own people, and you are a witness. The reason is simple. If you don't understand, then you have wasted your years as an agent. No country, no organization, no one who kills their own people will be forgiven. Beager was a mercenary. He knew very well that Su-yun's words were axiom. This was the bottom line that no organization in the world would tolerate. Of course, General Ade would not tolerate it either. He also knew very well that if he wanted to punish Yudikin after he returned, he only needed to tell the general the truth. As long as the general believed him, Yudikin would be finished. Yudikin naturally understood such a simple logic, so Yudikin would not let a witness like him go back alive to see the general. As for what Yudikin was going to do to him, Beager really did not understand. Beager did not want to become a sacrifice in the hands of Yudikin, so he chose to believe in Su-yun. No matter what Su-yun's purpose was, he would not let his fate be in the hands of Yudikin. If Yudikin wanted to kill him, he would not hesitate to fight back, even if it meant killing him. Su-yun saw that Beager had trust in him, so he continued to pressure him. "I know that you don't trust him anymore. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe me. In fact, he's the same. He doesn't trust you. He's afraid that your existence will end his glory at the most critical moment, so he won't let you live. The Qingdao stop may be your final stop. Whether you can survive or not depends on whether you trust me or not." Beager suddenly clenched his fists. Final stop? Humph, as long as he killed Yudikin now, everything would be over. He would no longer need to be on tenterhooks. Although the car was still moving at high speed, Beager would not hesitate to make a move if he decided to. Seeing that Beager was about to lose his temper, Su-yun stopped him as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the car flipped over, Beager's hands would be tied, and it would be difficult for him to protect himself. "Don't do anything stupid. He could see that you were distracted just now, which means that he's now very wary of you and me. If you make a move now, he might not necessarily be the one who loses. If you want to be tough, you have to make yourself look as relaxed as possible. When he makes a move on you, then give him a fatal counterattack. Then, he'll be the one who surprises you, and you'll be the one who wins. Catching the enemy off guard was a common tactic used by military strategists to win battles. He felt that it was very appropriate to use it on Beeger. Su Yun was right. If he wanted to win, he had to catch the enemy off guard. Otherwise, with Utekin's strength, he would have some reservations. Besides, Utekin was very wary of him now. Making a move was definitely not a good choice. Su Yun knew that Beeger was already on his side. If you trust me, blink twice. When we reach Qingdao, follow my arrangements. I promise that he won't do anything to you. As long as you can leave Qingdao safely, he'll be of no use to you, and you'll be of no use to him. The two of you will have the upper hand if you make the first move. Beeger did not say anything. He blinked twice silently. Even such a small movement did not escape Utekin's surveillance. Sleepy? Hang in there for a while. When we reach Qingdao, I'll find a place for you to rest. What was supposed to be a friendly gesture now sounded like a ploy to Beagle's ears. Rest well. What he meant was that he would never wake up again. Since you're so heartless, Utekin, don't blame me for being unjust. Chapter 1443. The car drove all the way south. The closer they were to Qingdao, the more nervous Beagle became. He knew that the closer they were to Qingdao, the higher the possibility that Utekin would turn against him. However, he would not be able to eat or sleep well when he was so close to someone who could kill him at any time. As they were about to enter Qingdao, Su Yun suggested that they go to the service area to get something to eat. It was already dark, and they might not be able to find a place to eat on Qingdao. If they went out to sea without eating, it would be uncomfortable if they encountered something. It was better to be prepared. Utekin felt that Zhang Heng's words made sense. They did need to be prepared. After all, they were going out to sea on a speedboat. The smaller the boat, the better. That would mean that they would not have enough space for food and water. They would also not have a place to shelter themselves from the wind and rain. If they encountered a storm or something, their bodies would suffer without heat. Utekin nodded and agreed with Su Yun's suggestion. When they reached the service area, Utekin motioned for Beagle to look after Su Yun while he went to sell the food. Beagle nodded in agreement. After Utekin got out of the car, Beagle looked at Su Yun in confusion. He knew that Su Yun had suggested this because he wanted a chance to talk to him alone. Beagle frowned. After Utekin had left, he said to Su Yun, "What do you want to talk to me about?" "Nothing." Su Yun shook his head. It was as if the words he had said to Beagle earlier had vanished into thin air. It was as if nothing had happened at all. Beagle was stunned. Ever since Su Yun had said those words to him, he had become more and more afraid with each passing minute. Everyone had a certain mentality. For example, if one was not afraid of being stolen, one was afraid of being remembered. If one was not afraid of death, one was afraid of waiting for death. Every minute was torture for Beagle. Su Yun had suddenly given him hope, and now he had suddenly taken it away. How could he not be anxious? It was as if he was on fire. "Yanlong, you told me a lot just now. Now you've changed your mind," Beagle said. "Aren't you afraid that I'll tell Utekin what you've said to me? If that happens, I'm afraid you'll have to bear the consequences. If you had any intelligence left, you wouldn't have done that." Su Yun said lightly, "Have you ever thought that even if Utekin believes you, what can he do to me? I am the General's VIP. Have you all forgotten about General Adler's phone number? He will only find a way to get me on his side and then find a way to deal with you. Because you betrayed me, he did this as a greeting gift for me." Beager's face twitched. Yes, if he betrayed Su Yun, then Su Yun would definitely side with Utekin, and he would be the one at a disadvantage. It would be the same as handing over his alliance to Utekin. No matter how stupid a person was, they wouldn't do that. Besides, why are you so sure that he'll believe you? If he thinks you're up to something. Su Yun sneered, "I'm afraid you won't even have the chance to go to Qingdao. I can feel that there's still a gap between your strength and Utekin's. If it's one-on-one, the chances of you beating him are really slim. The stupid thing is right in front of you, you can do whatever you want. Bigger weighed the pros and cons in his mind and finally bowed his head. Captain Yen Long, why are you helping me? Because he kidnapped my woman, Su Yun said casually. If you kidnapped her, I'll definitely work with him to deal with you. I'm a vengeful person. Even if I'm taken to America by another person because of this, I'm willing to cooperate with him. Really? Bigger asked skeptically. If I believe you and help you deal with him, will you cooperate with me to meet the general in America? If I say yes, you won't believe me. But if I say no, then you don't have to do that, Su Yun said. I can only say that after it's done, it'll depend on your ability. If I'm like now, I'll definitely have to go with you. But if you let me be free, I'm not stupid. Why would I go with you? What do you think? This was the truth. Absolutely the truth. Bigger slapped his thigh. Just based on Su Yun's words, he felt that he was a trustworthy person. To a trustworthy person, he had to trust him. Fiery Dragon, I trust you. Give me some advice. If I'm not wrong, Yudikin will definitely attack you at sea, Su Yun smiled. Between you and him, who do you think is more suitable to fight on the sea? Yudikin was a pirate, and Bigger was a mercenary on land. With the difference in strength between the two, Bigger's chances of winning on land were only 30%. If they were at sea, it was probably less than 10%, right? Su Yun's analysis struck a chord in Yudikin's soul. He said excitedly, "We can't let him go to sea. The sea is his world." That's right. Su Yun nodded. Looks like you're a talent. You understand what I'm saying. As long as Yudikin goes to sea, you'll be trapped. You have to stop him. But how can I stop him now? Bigger shook his head helplessly. There was no way he could stop Yudikin. They were here to leave Huaxia. Stop him? With what reason? Su Yun smiled. Of course, you can't say it. He has to say he wants to stay the night. As long as he stays on Hop Island, we'll have time to think of a way. I really can't think of anything to help you now. Bigger shook his head hard. He won't stay on Hop Island, absolutely not. He can't wait to go to our military base. When he gets there, he'll make the biggest contribution of the year. How can he choose to stay the night? Besides, we can only go to sea at night. It's too risky during the day. If he stays, we'll have to wait until tomorrow night. Yudikin won't agree. Su Yun looked at his pocket. Take out the thing in there. Chapter 1444. Yudikin unwrapped the hamburger and handed it to Su Yun. Su Yun did not hesitate and took it with his mouth. Although his hands were tied, it was not an inconvenience for him to carry things. Su Yun did this to divert Yudikin's attention. Seeing that Bigger had succeeded, Su Yun was relieved to eat. Yudikin, who had no idea, did not suspect what he had bought at all. He took the hamburger and stuffed it into his mouth. Obviously, the gray powder that Su Yun asked Bigger to give him was not something clean. It was cement powder that Su Yun had collected from the ground or walls when they were not paying attention. It must taste extraordinary. Yudikin could not help but frown. He sniffed the hamburger in his hand. There was no strange smell, but why did it taste a little strange? He could not tell what it was. Huaxia's Chinese food is definitely one of a kind in the world, but your hamburger is far worse than ours. The taste is a little strange. I can't tell what it is, but it doesn't feel right, Yudikin said as he stuffed the hamburger into his mouth. Yudikin said as he stuffed the hamburger into his mouth. He was so hungry that he didn't care about the texture anymore. But when he ate again, Yudikin did not feel the strange taste. He thought that perhaps he had gotten used to the taste. But even without the strange taste, the Huaxia hamburger was still not as authentic as theirs. Beagle had been on tenterhooks since the beginning. He was afraid that Yudikin would be suspicious if he smelled the food. Fortunately, everything went smoothly, and he could finish his meal in peace. They say that the seafood in Qingdao is very fresh. We don't have the luck to taste it. After Judikin finished his meal, he smiled and said, "We'll be leaving tonight. Captain Yen Long, I'll have to trouble you to accompany us on our journey. When we reach our base, I promise to treat you with the highest standards possible. No matter what you want, I'll make sure you're satisfied." Su Yun nodded. "Of course, I believe you. But we should be on our way now. The later we go out to sea, the more dangerous it is. No matter who accidentally falls off the ship, it won't look good." Yudikin glanced at Beeger subconsciously and answered Su Yun calmly, "Of course." Although it was just an unconscious glance, the person who was looking at it had the intention to do so. Beeger's brows furrowed in viciousness. Obviously, he thought that Yudikin's glance meant that Yudikin was going to sentence him to death. Now that everything was so certain, he could not blame Yudikin for not holding back. Each of them knew better than the other the principle of striking first and gaining the upper hand. What should they do next? Beeger was very clear. Yudikin continued driving. He was going to get off at the highway near the harbor in the south of the city, but his stomach was not feeling well. When he reached the exit of Changyang, he could not hold it in anymore. He quickly drove off the highway and ran along the street to find a public toilet. Fortunately, he found a public toilet in a square. After finding it, Yudikin stopped the car in a panic and told Beeger to keep an eye on Su Yun. He then hurriedly got off the car and ran to the public toilet. Beeger watched as Yudikin walked away in a panic. He was rather shocked. The thing Su Yun had given him was actually so powerful. Wasn't this too unbelievable? What should we do next? Beeger asked directly, treating Su Yun as his brains. Su Yun laughed and scolded him in his heart. "Do you really think I'm your father? That I have to answer whatever you ask?" But this was a good sign. It meant that Su Yun had used the fear in Beeger's heart to control his thoughts. It was too easy to use him. General Ard would never have thought that his shrewd agents would be so easily used by Su Yun because they were wary of their own people. It was not that they were too stupid, but that they were too shrewd, too calculating, too sinister. If Su Yun could not use someone who could not even trust his own people, then it would be a problem with Su Yun's ability. "Do you think he'll believe that the three of us ate the same thing and he was the only one who had diarrhea?" Su Yun said. "We have to do something later, or he'll suspect you immediately." Beeger had already fallen into Su Yun's trap. It would be difficult for him to escape. "There are two of us. Why would he suspect me and not you? Captain Yen Long. Why do I feel like this is a little complicated? You're not using me, are you? To put it bluntly, we're all using each other. Su Yun, if you think he'll suspect me, then I'll really doubt your IQ." As he spoke, Su Yun raised his hands to show Beeger his wrists. "If it were you, would you suspect someone whose hands are restrained or someone whose hands can move freely?" "You." Beeger was stunned. What he said made sense. If it were him, he would not suspect Su Yun either. Su Yun was using someone else to do his dirty work. General Ard had told them about the 36 stratagems passed down from Hua Xia since ancient times. He did not expect the captain of Hua Xia's special forces to be able to apply what he learned so flexibly. He could use stratagems in all kinds of situations. "Okay, then tell me what I should do." Beeger gritted his teeth. If he did not listen to Su Yun now, he would not be able to get past this hurdle. "I'll do as you say. How can I make him not suspect me? You know that if he suspects me, I'm dead meat." Fear could indeed turn a person's brain into a pig's brain. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. "Isn't that simple? If our stomachs all hurt, then he can only suspect that it's because we ate something he bought. He's already suspected the taste of the hamburger." Beeger nodded as if he had a sudden realization. That's right, if he had a stomachache too, then Judikin would not suspect him. "Then I'll pretend when he comes back later." Beeger interrupted. If Su Yun pretended to have a stomachache first, he would still be suspected. He could not care less about Su Yun now. "Well, when he comes back, just say that you can't hold it in anymore," Su Yun said. "That way he won't suspect you." "Then what are you going to do?" Beeger asked. Aren't you afraid that he'll suspect you? Su Yun shrugged. First, even if he suspects me, he can't do anything to me. Second, the whole world knows that Huaxia's gutter oil and food additives are rampant. The people of Huaxia are immune to all kinds of poisons. It's fine to eat something that's gone bad. Unlike you Americans, who eat and drink too healthy. If you eat something that's gone bad, you'll get diarrhea easily. Beager nodded. That made sense. Indeed, Huaxia's food could be said to be the most unsafe in the world. Huaxia's food would probably go back on the right track after Shide conducted a thorough inspection of the food and fired all the inspectors who covered up the falsification of the food. The people who falsified the food were hateful and deserved to be killed, but those in charge who gave them food safety certification despite knowing that the food was unsafe deserved to be killed even more. Damn it! They should go to hell and eat poop on the 18th floor for the rest of their lives. They should be revived and continue eating poop. Why? Because it was 2F** King wicked. So wicked that even their ancestors would be embarrassed. Although Yudikin came out of the public toilet, he was obviously still not satisfied. The feeling of having diarrhea was not pleasant and would not be cured in a short time. It would take a while at least. Moreover, Su Yun's special laxative was very powerful. Yudikin, come and look after him. I can't hold it in anymore. Beager did not wait for Yudikin to come closer. He opened the car door and rushed to the public toilet. Yudikin was confused. Did everyone have diarrhea? Was it because of the burger earlier? Chapter 1445. Yudikin's stomach growled again, but he saw that Bigger had already rushed to the toilet. What else could he say? He could not possibly follow him. If he did, Su Yun would be left unattended. If he ran away because of this, what would happen to him? The general would be so angry that he would find someone to sew up their anuses. Why did such a disappointing stomach have to throw a tantrum now? He had to keep an eye on Su Yun, even if it meant pooping his pants. Your stomach is not feeling well? Are you not acclimatized? Su Yun watched as Yudikin walked weakly into the car. Or did you eat something bad? If you eat something bad, you can't be careless. If it's a small problem, it might cause you to collapse and prolapse. If it's a big problem, it might cause hemorrhoids or something. It's a painful thing. Surgery is easy, but if you go to the toilet for a few days in a row, it will definitely feel bad. Yen Long, why are you fine? Did you do something? Yudikin stared at Su Yun with wide eyes. Both of them had stomachs, and only Su Yun was fine. He definitely suspected that Su Yun had done something to their food. Su Yun did not explain at all. He just put his hands in front of Yudikin for him to see for himself. Yudikin was stunned. A person whose hands were controlled could not have done anything to their food. What was going on? Was he really not acclimatized? Impossible. He had been to all the worst places in the world. Even on a plateau thousands of meters above sea level, he had never been acclimatized. How could he not be acclimatized to a coastal city like Qingdao, where the environment and air were not bad? Absolutely impossible. If I said that we Huaxia people eat a lot of gutter oil and are not afraid of spoiled food, would you believe me? Su Yun met Yudikin's gaze and said, There are indeed problems with food safety in Huaxia. The law enforcers are negligent in their duties, accepting bribes, and the conscience of unscrupulous merchants are all very difficult to clean up. Yudikin frowned. How could he believe that? Su Yun was fine after eating something unclean? Had his stomach been trained to be immune to all kinds of poisons by all kinds of food additives in Huaxia? Impossible, he definitely wouldn't believe it. It was too outrageous. I knew you wouldn't believe these words, but some people don't listen. I'd better pretend that I have a stomachache like some people. That's better than me running my mouth and not being able to cover up my lies. Su Yun shrugged. Forget it, forget it. It's useless to say more. What do you mean by that? Yudikin glared. Who are those people? Humph. What did Bigger ask you to do? Yen Long, there is trust between us. You asked me to release the hostages, and I didn't even touch a single hair on them. I let them go just like that. I appreciate you and think we can be friends in the future. Don't hide anything from me." Soo-yoon laughed. "If I wanted to hide it from you, I wouldn't have said those words. You should know better than me what he's thinking. When we were eating, there were only the three of us in the car. I couldn't move my hands, so the one who could do something to you is definitely not you. Think about it, if you have diarrhea, when you're out at sea at night, on the boat, if someone wants to attack you, you won't even have a chance to resist, right?" Yutakin's eyes suddenly emitted a green light. Soo-yoon continued to add fuel to the fire. "Diarrhea is not an illness, but it can be fatal. In your current state, you'll feel uncomfortable on land. If you're on the boat and someone really wants to attack you, how are you going to deal with them?" The veins on Yutakin's fists were bulging, and his eyes were emitting green light. That bastard Bigger actually wanted to trick him. This guy really wanted to make the first move. Now that he hadn't even found a boat to escape from Huaxia, he wanted to play this game with him. Bastard. Fine, then don't blame me for not holding back. If you want to do it now. Soo-yoon seemed to be able to see through Yutakin's thoughts. He suddenly said, "His diarrhea is fake, but yours is real. And in such a situation, how are you going to fight him? If I were you, I would think of a way to drag things out for a day. When your stomach feels better, you'll teach him a lesson when we're on the boat." Yutakin suddenly understood. That's right, impulse was the devil. He actually almost lost his mind because of it. It was just that he was facing his own people. The more a threat his own people brought to him, the easier it was for him to lose his mind. This saying was not wrong at all. "Captain Yen Long? I really don't know how to thank you," Yutakin said. "I owe you a favor. If it weren't for you, I might have been tricked by that bastard. I'm not doing you this favor for free." Soo-yoon was still trying to act innocent. "I'm only helping you because you kept your word and didn't hurt the hostages. I see that you're a man, different from that bastard. But don't tell him that I told you about this. I'm going to pretend to have a stomachache now. If he asks me if I said anything, I'll say that I don't know what to say. Just listen to what he says, and you'll understand." Yutakin nodded. He was now much more wary of Bigger than Soo-yoon. Obviously, Soo-yoon had grasped the psychological weakness of both of them and taken them down completely. "Then I'm going to pretend to have a stomachache now," Soo-yoon said. Yutakin hurriedly nodded in agreement, allowing Soo-yoon to act according to his own ideas and decisions. Soo-yoon immediately clutched his stomach and ran to the bathroom. He kept complaining that his stomach hurt and felt uncomfortable. Yutakin narrowed his eyes and thought, "Humph, let's wait and see. You want to use Soo-yoon to deal with me? Then I'll play a trick on you. Let's see who kneels to who in the end." Soo-yoon ran into the bathroom and complained about his stomachache. When Bigger heard this, he quickly opened the squat door and came out. He whispered, "How is it? Explain the situation." "He believes that we ate something bad, right?" "He doesn't seem to believe me," Soo-yoon said. "That's why I'm going to stay in there for a while. You go out first in case he gets suspicious. We've been whispering for too long. He'll definitely get suspicious." "Yes, he'll definitely get suspicious." "Then I'll go out quickly." "We can't let him suspect us in this place," Bigger said. He had seen the bathroom before. Other than the door and window on the front, there was nothing on the back. They didn't need to watch from the bathroom. Soo-yoon couldn't escape either. He could only go out the front door and climb through the front window. When Yutakin saw Bigger come out, he endured the pain in his stomach and said, "That's a lot better." Hearing Yutakin say this, Bigger also pretended to be relieved. "Yes, a lot better. Sigh, it was really painful just now. I almost couldn't hold it in. It's much better now." Yutakin cursed in his heart. "Better your ass. I'm still in pain. I really don't know what you bastard fed me. If I find out, I'll make you eat 3 times as much as I did. I'll let you have a taste of this diarrhea." "Looks like we've all eaten something bad," Yutakin said lightly. Bigger didn't want Judikin to be suspicious of him. Su Yun had told him that Judikin was more suspicious of Su Yun, so Bigger decided to go with the flow. Logically speaking, Yen Long should be fine. He's from Hua Xia and isn't afraid of gutter oil. He should be immune to all kinds of poisons, right? When Judikin heard this, he was even more certain that Bigger had tricked him. This B** did something bad himself, and now he was trying to push the blame onto someone else. Yes. Maybe the food was too bad, and he couldn't resist it. As he spoke, Judikin's gaze fell on Bigger. No wonder I tasted something strange. Why didn't you guys smell it? Bigger was nervous. He tried to calm himself down. I tasted it too, but I was thinking about getting to Qingdao earlier and leaving by boat when it was dark. That's why I didn't enjoy the burger. We should have left in the dark, but I'm afraid we can't leave now, Judikin said lightly. When he heard this, Bigger was extremely excited, but to hide it, he could only look surprised and helpless. We can't leave. Why? We have to leave tonight. If we stay here for a night, who knows what will happen. Let's go out to sea today. The sooner we finish things, the sooner we can feel at ease. When Judikin saw Bigger's insistence to leave today, he was even more suspicious of him. He thought to himself, I think you want to end me early so that you can feel at ease. Chapter 1446. Not leaving. Bigger confirmed with Judikin again. It seemed that Su Yun's plan had worked quite well. At least now, Judikin would not go out to sea. As long as he did not go out to sea, Bigger could ask Su Yun to help him think of a way to avoid the possibility of Judikin attacking him at sea. The hierarchy of American agents was quite strict. Bigger had been with the general for a shorter period of time than Judikin, so he had never dared to make a move on Judikin. The best way was to get on the ship and kill him while he was feeling unwell. He would not dare to do that in Hua Xia. If the two of them fought, Su Yun would definitely be the one to win. Only when they were sure that Su Yun could not escape would the two of them make a move. Perhaps that was why Judikin had been holding back all this time. Su Yun was like a bomb in the arms of the two of them, but the two of them had no choice but to choose to believe in this bomb. If a bomb was carefully protected, it would not explode. On the other hand, their companions were like their own guns that could go off at any time. Therefore, compared to a gun, a bomb was definitely much safer. Bigger and Judikin did not realize that they had fallen into Su Yun's trap so easily because of their excessive cunning and scheming. Otherwise, why would they be in such a state of fear and trepidation? Even if they did not go out to sea today, the two of them would not be able to sleep. The more tired they were, the more advantageous it would be for Su Yun. The plan was progressing step by step according to Su Yun's plan. This time, Su Yun was going to teach General Ade a lesson. He would let him know that he could not afford to offend Wan Guangxiao back then, and now he could not afford to offend Wan Guangxiao's soldiers. Trying to take advantage of Hua Xia would be impossible in his next life, so he should just give up. Su Yun knew that if he didn't teach that General Ade a lesson this time, he would probably continue to cause trouble. In that case, Su Yun wouldn't have time to waste on him. It's useless to teach a little ghost a lesson. I've got to teach the King Yen Luo of Hell a lesson. That's the only way to resolve the root of the problem. Su Yun calculated that it was about time. He walked out of the restroom and calmly approached the two of them. Su Yun had to maintain this calm expression so that the two could not see through him. If the two could not see through him, they would think that Su Yun was on their side. This way, Su Yun could rest easy and sleep comfortably. He would let the two of them suffer. Captain Yen Long, since we all have stomachs, why don't we stay here for the night? What do you think? Judikin asked, even though he already knew the answer. Su Yun acted like he didn't know how to answer and said, I'll do whatever you decide. I'm your captive now. I don't have the right to choose. If I had the right to choose, I would definitely choose to let you release me. No, no, no. Captain Yen Long, we've been neglectful. You have the right to choose. Bigger was grateful that Su Yun's plan had saved his life. In order to express his gratitude to Su Yun, he had his own way. "You can choose where we'll stay tonight. We'll satisfy all your needs." Seeing how Bigger fawned over Su Yun, Judikin despised him even more. "No matter how much you flatter him, it's useless. Yen Long thinks that he owes me a favor and is helping me. We can't leave tonight. Let's see what other tricks you can play." "How embarrassing. After all, you're paying for me." "I'll stay wherever you want," Su Yun said. "I don't mind. Captain Yen Long, since Bigger has said so, you should choose. Don't disappoint him." Judikin's words had a double meaning. "Since you're going to stay on Qingdao, you should stay somewhere decent. You'll have a good memory in the future. Maybe you'll be moved by the general sincerity and never come to Huaxia again." Although these words were meant for Su Yun, Bigger felt that Judikin was implying that this was his last night in the world and that he should enjoy it. No, he had to discuss with Su Yun how to deal with Judikin. "Yes, you choose, Captain Yen Long. If you don't mind, I'll share a room with you." "You know we have to be careful," Bigger said. "Judikin has been driving all day. It's time for him to rest." No. I'll share a room with Captain Yen Long. I'm not tired. I'm counting on you to sail the boat tomorrow. You can rest in a single room." Judikin smiled as if he understood people very well. He only did this to prevent Bigger and Su Yun from gossiping. "I'm fine. I'm not tired." Bigger frowned. If that was the case, it would be troublesome. How was he going to discuss things with Su Yun? "How about this? We'll sleep separately. I've already followed you here. It's not impossible for me to escape. But with your vigilance, I definitely won't be able to escape." Su Yun said, "I haven't rested well for a few days. I just want a good night's sleep. Didn't you give me the right to choose? This is my only request. Let's go to the Qingdao Movie Plaza base and stay at the newly opened movie hotel. It's a 5-star hotel with a 6-star rating. I heard that the people we'll meet there are Jennifer Lawrence, Yvonne Strahovski, Ashley Michael, Aubrey Plaza." Su Yun listed a bunch of female leads in American photo shoots. They were all female celebrities. Hearing this, Judikin and Beagle were stunned. "Really?" "Of course. That's a hotel under the Qingdao Movie Plaza, known as the Hollywood of the East. Aren't the people staying there all celebrities?" Su Yun said, "I can only have good memories there. Indeed, this might be my last night in Huaxia. If you really want to give me some good memories, then go there. If not, forget it. It doesn't matter. Pretend I didn't say anything." This was the time when both of them wanted to curry favor with Su Yun. Of course, no one would refuse. Chapter 1447. The renovation standards of the Qingdao Film and Television Base Hotel were quite high. After all, after the film and television base was established, all kinds of activities would be held every year, and only celebrities would participate in them. As for the arrangements for these people, the higher, the better. This was related to the quality and status of a person. It wasn't that Sua Meiyan liked to be extravagant, but if she didn't do this, the reputation of Hollywood in the East wouldn't be known. Therefore, the quality had to be high, and it had to be unforgettable. Judikin and Bigger covered Su Yun's hands with clothes to hide what they couldn't let outsiders see. As soon as they walked into the hotel, the two of them were shocked by the quality of the place. It was completely out of their expectations. No wonder Su Yun said that the people living here could be very tasteful celebrities and models. If they were those celebrities, they would definitely choose this place. The smoothness of the matter completely exceeded Su Yun's expectations. Before coming to the hotel, Su Yun was still thinking about who he should see first and how he should express his feelings to him. He should let him pass on the message to Bai Xiaoye and tell him about his little sister's current situation. Moreover, he had to do it quietly. That person had to be smart enough to understand what he meant. However, when Su Yun entered the hotel, he saw Bai Xiaoye, who was about to leave in the lobby. When Bai Xiaoye saw Su Yun, she was stunned. This was too sudden. She had just had a small meeting with the housekeeping manager and security manager in charge of night work in the conference room. She had asked them to be more careful and responsible during the night work and not be too casual. After the meeting, she was about to leave the hotel to find a place to eat and have a good sleep to make up for the tiredness from the busy work arrangements during this period when she saw her brother and two foreigners walking in together. Of course, Bai Xiaoye was very observant. She immediately noticed the clothes covering Su Yun's wrists. Su Yun sighed in his heart. The goddess of luck had always been on his side. He knew that Bai Xiaoye had noticed that something was wrong with him, so he immediately gave her a look. Bai Xiaoye instantly understood that something must have happened to Su Yun. Su Yun must have sent her a message in such a silent way because he didn't want her to disturb the two foreigners. You guys should be more proactive in your work. Hurry up and greet the guests when you see them. Bai Xiaoye turned her head and said to the receptionist. Then, she turned back to Su Yun and the other two and smiled. Congratulations. You're the 999th wave of guests after the opening of the movie Square Base. According to our hotel's reward program, we can provide you with a room with a surprise price. It's only 9. Right when Bai Xiaoye was about to say 999, Su Yun gave him another look. The meaning was very clear. He couldn't let these two bastards take advantage of him. Since they were here today, they wouldn't leave. It wouldn't be a problem to ask for an exorbitant price. Bai Xiaoye immediately changed her words. It's only 9,900. Deluxe standard room. The suite that Bai Xiaoye originally wanted was changed to an ordinary standard room. Here, the suites were for celebrities, and the standard rooms were for the assistants and attendants of these celebrities. The normal price was 1,200. Bai Xiaoye was already asking for an exorbitant price of 9,900. Su Yun didn't think it was ruthless enough. If he really asked for 90,000, they might be willing to pay it. Forget it. Since Bai Xiaoye had already spoken, Su Yun couldn't say anything else. He could only pretend to be surprised. Only 9,900? So cheap. Yutakin was stunned. This was a little too expensive. He looked at Su Yun and tried to ask him if this price was normal. Beagle was also puzzled. It wasn't that they hadn't stayed in a luxurious hotel before, but it was rare for a standard room to be this expensive. The price of a suite was still acceptable. Although it wasn't as expensive as Dubai, it wasn't something that ordinary people could accept. This is really cheap. Why don't you think about who this place is prepared for? Su Yun raised his eyebrows and said, Maybe we'll meet a group of supermodels from Victoria's Secret in the elevator. Do you think this price is considered expensive? Don't pretend to be innocent. We just happen to have a room with a surprise price. Otherwise, it might have been 20,000 to 30,000. Yutakin and Beagle were really shocked by the cost of living on Qingdao. It was too expensive, but after thinking about it, not everyone could afford to live here. Although the price was a little high, it was still worth it. Who knew, they might really meet a few supermodels under Victoria's Secret. If they could take a picture with them and post it on their Facebook, it would definitely make everyone else jealous. Okay. Yutakin made a decision. Beagle, we'll just stay here. You don't have any objections, right? No objections, Beagle said. We'll go Dutch. Su Yun rolled his eyes. Bro, you can go Dutch. What about me? I don't have a single cent on me. Don't forget how I came here with you. I was... No. Of course we'll pay for your room. Yutakin was afraid that Su Yun would spill the beans. There were so many people in the hotel, and if someone got bored and called the police, it would cause unnecessary trouble. It would be pointless. His stomach still wasn't feeling well. He just wanted to go to his room to take a dump. There wasn't a toilet in the public toilet just now, and his legs were numb from squatting. Now, he just wanted to sit on a toilet and enjoy himself. Beagle didn't have any objections. They could just split it evenly. It was 9,999 yuan. If each person gave an extra 5,000 yuan, there would still be 1 yuan left. He didn't care if there was only 1 yuan left. After making the decision, the two of them took out their bank cards. Su Yun suddenly realized that he couldn't let them off so easily. He said to Bai Xiaoye, "Leader, you can give each of them $15,000. The extra $3 will be your tip." In the blink of an eye, Su Yun had turned the room fee into USD. That was 6 times the amount. Yudikin and Beagle's eyes almost popped out. They were working for the general, not some rich boss. They were dependent on the government's finances. Although their salaries weren't low, they weren't so extravagant that they could spend $15,000 to stay in a hotel for a night. USD? Isn't this Hua Xia? Yudikin's eyes widened. He pulled Su Yun over and wanted to ask him if there was a mistake. Hua Xia didn't charge USD. It was RMB. Of course it's USD. Don't you see what kind of place this is? 80% of the people staying here are international celebrities. Who doesn't pay USD? You two are really country bumpkins. Su Yun said rather helplessly, "All right, hurry up and pay up. Don't embarrass yourself here. I really have to hand it to you. Isn't it just a few dollars? Why don't you think about how much the general will reward you if I go back with you?" Yudikin and Beagle really couldn't refute this. They could only pretend to be rich. Each of them forked out $15,000 to experience the feeling of extreme luxury. This should be the feeling of heartache, right? Su Yun, of course, understood. He then said to Bai Xiaoye, "Right, give us an extra $300. Give each of us a glass of your specialty drink, heartache feeling." There's a specialty drink here? Heartache feeling? Yudikin and Beagle looked at each other. Although $100 per glass was quite expensive, they had already spent $15,000. Why would they care about $150? Try it. They had to try this specialty drink. After all, this was the most suitable drink for them, right? It suited their mood. When the 3 glasses of mineral water were handed to them, they really knew what heartache feeling was. $100 per glass of water. Anyone who didn't feel heartache was a coward. Yudikin and Beagle wanted to cry, but no tears came out. They were amazed by the depth of Hua Xia's culture. Chapter 1448. The receptionist looked at Bai Xiaoye in surprise when she saw the 2 foreigners foolishly paying so much money. She admired her boss for being able to fool the foreigners with just a few words, especially the silly boy in the middle. She had dug a hole for the 2 foreigners to jump into. She didn't know that the silly boy in her eyes was the CEO of Sky Entertainment Group, which was part of the movie hotel. After getting the room, the receptionist whispered to Bai Xiaoye worriedly, "CEO Bai, will the Bureau of Commodity Prices investigate us for doing this? Isn't this equivalent to charging money recklessly? If we are caught, we will be severely punished. You have to think twice." Bai Xiaoye looked at the receptionist with a smile and said in an extremely low voice, "Only the 2 of us know about this. If the Bureau of Commodity Prices investigates, then you have to be careful of your job. Do you understand?" The receptionist was startled and didn't dare to say anything. Just as she was wondering if she should leave the extra money for Bai Xiaoye whispered to her, "The money is in the public account. Whether or not we are charging money recklessly, Sky Entertainment Group will definitely pay the taxes that should be paid. Work hard, and this is none of your business." After getting the room card, Bai Xiaoye personally led Su Yun and the other 2 upstairs to the guest room. She needed Su Yun to give her more information so that she could better help Su Yun and know what Su Yun needed. In the elevator, Bai Xiaoye didn't stay idle. She pretended to be relaxed and said to the 3 of them, "We just opened for business not long ago. If there's anything we don't do well, I hope you don't mind. If there's anything you need, you can call the service department." The 3 of them nodded. Su Yun suddenly coughed softly. Is there special service?" Bai Xiaoye was shocked, but when she saw Su Yun's gaze, she suddenly understood what Su Yun meant. These 2 foreigners were obviously not ordinary people. Even if they didn't stay in the same room, if she wanted to sneak into Su-yun's room alone, it would be difficult for her to not be noticed. Only through this method could she come into contact with Su-yun when he was alone. Yutakin and Beeger swallowed their saliva. If there were girls in such a high-end place, they would definitely be of the highest quality. Thinking of this, the two of them couldn't help but feel heartache. If a standard room was already so expensive, wouldn't it be even more expensive to find a girl to spend the night with? It's better not to think about this. It would only make them feel uncomfortable. It's better to endure it and forget about it so that they wouldn't be unable to sleep. What kind of service are you talking about? Bai Xiaoye said. Hee, we're a formal place. If you need massage, of course, it's definitely not a problem. It's just that our technicians are all supermodels. The price might be a little high. I'll make it clear first. It's not that I don't believe in your spending power, but the price is a little too high. Bai Xiaoye's words were completely based on Su-yun's expression. When she finished speaking, Su-yun showed a very satisfied expression, and Bai Xiaoye heaved a sigh of relief. This guy is really something. He can come up with all kinds of ideas. The price is not a problem. Tell me, how much is it? Su-yun, we've already encountered rooms with surprise prices, and a friend paid for them for me. As for the rest, I'll do it myself. I'll definitely be able to afford it. After that, Su-yun said to Yutakin and Beeger, I'm sorry, brothers. Our Huaxia has rules. If you want to eat or drink, you have to fight to treat. This is not a problem at all. However, when it comes to finding girls for service, we have to go Dutch. Su-yun was just making things up. How many people would go Dutch when looking for girls for service? 6 out of 10 of them would be the first party accepting a bribe from the second party, and the remaining 4 would be the first party insisting that the second party treat them or bribe them. Okay. We'll go Dutch. Yutakin and Beeger were used to going Dutch, so they didn't think much about it. What they wanted to know was, how much? Su-yun raised his eyes at Bai Xiaoye. His attitude was clear. High price. These two bastards were so scared that they were paralyzed. Let's see how much they can take. I won't scare them to death. Bai Xiaoye returned a glance to Su-yun, indicating that she understood what Su-yun meant. Let's show these two foreigners the prices of Qingdao. If it's a professional supermodel level massage technician, this is the price. Bai Xiaoye stretched out her thumb and index finger. 88,000 per hour, 200,000 per night. After a pause, Bai Xiaoye added, US dollars. What the heck, this price scared even Su-yun, alright? Many small celebrities who do charity work only cost 100,000 renminbi, and they still have to accompany her for a day. Who could afford 200,000 US dollars for a night? One night was enough to buy an S-Class Mercedes-Benz. Yutakin and Beagle gave up immediately. They really did not have the money to afford such extravagant spending. Even if it was just an hour, they could not afford it. 88,000 US dollars was enough to buy a top-notch Range Rover in America. It's not cheap. Su-yun grinned and glanced at Yutakin and Beeger. Why, you two don't want to try it? As the saying goes, nothing good is cheap, and good things aren't cheap. If you think it's suitable, we'll have 3. Captain Yen. Even if we go Dutch, I don't have enough money. Yutakin smiled awkwardly. I'll pass. And my stomach. You know, I don't have as good a recovery as you. I can't afford it. Beeger immediately covered his stomach. Me too. My stomach can't afford it either. Let's go to bed early and have a good rest to recover our energy. These two fellows each had their own ulterior motives. Neither of them had good intentions. They both hoped that the other party would grit his teeth and find a woman to play with. This way, they could have a good rest. Right now, their energy and physical strength were limited. They had to save it to deal with the other party. No matter how tempting a woman was to them, she was still poison. If they touched her, they would definitely be unlucky. Then if you don't want it, I won't hold back. Su Yun, I'm leaving Hua Xia soon. I might not be able to come back in the future, so I must leave behind the best memories. Please be understanding. If I wake you up at night, please don't be offended. No problem, no problem. Biga's lips twitched. This guy is so extravagant. He actually has so much money. He just said that he didn't have money. Not a single word of truth came out of his mouth. Yutakin also smiled. Since Leader Yen likes this, we're sorry that we don't have the ability to arrange it for you. When you get to May, realizing that there were outsiders around, Yutakin didn't dare to say much. When you get to our place, I'll definitely take care of it. Haha, no matter when Leader Yen wants a woman, you can always tell me. Su Yun laughed and scolded, What kind of person do you think I am? I won't eat rotten fish and rotten meat. I'd rather take a bite of an immortal peach than a basket of rotten apricots. This is an old saying. Yes, yes, yes. Su Yun then looked at Bai Xiaoye. Then when does your service start? Did it need to be past midnight? You'll come to my door. Yes. Bai Xiaoye nodded. You really know how to handle people. Su Yun laughed and waved his hand. It's nothing special. It's just a hobby. Bai Xiaoye didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Su Yun's antics. The situation was clearly very dangerous, but he still acted as if it didn't matter. Bai Xiaoye brought the three of them to their room and left in a hurry. It was now 10:30 p.m. In more than an hour, she would have to pretend to be a prostitute and go to Su Yun's room to figure out what was going on. She would only know what kind of help Su Yun needed after she got close to Su Yun. Chapter 1449. Judikin and Beagle walked into their rooms with deep envy and jealousy towards Su Yun. They had spent so much money to stay in such a luxurious place, but they did not even dare to take a shower. They were afraid that their companions would use this opportunity to harm them. If General Ade lost in the end, it would definitely be because of his own people. He could only blame the people he had trained for being too cautious and careful. They knew too well how despicable and cunning their companions were. Once they lost the most basic trust in their companions, what was the point of being a team? It would only make things worse. To be honest, if only one of them was holding Su Yun hostage, Su Yun would not have had the chance to come into contact with his own people. Beagle went back to his room and tossed and turned. He was on alert every minute. If there was even the slightest sound, he would be terrified. He was afraid that Judikin was going to kill him. Judikin was the same. His stomach was still cramping. He did not even dare to slack off when he went to the bathroom. He only pulled down his pants a little so that he would have time to counterattack if Beagle attacked him. He really didn't know if General Ade knew that the two elites he had trained had actually forgotten that Su Yunchuang was still tied up because they were worried about their own people. It was not until midnight that the sound of high heels coming from the corridor woke the two of them up. But since things had already come to this, the two of them could not stop them. They could only let things go as they wished. Fortunately, the restraints they had tied on Su Yun were not something ordinary people could undo. They were not worried about that, but they were afraid that Su Yun would say something. Judging from the current situation, once the police on Qingdao were alerted, their plan to leave Hua Xia would be in a tense deadlock. If Su Yun and that woman made any strange movements, they would definitely kill them. They would not tolerate any threats. They would strangle them in the cradle. Finally, the door to Su Yun's room opened. When Su Yun saw that it was Bai Xiaoye, who had deliberately put on heavy makeup, he almost laughed out loud. Bai Xiaoye's temperament was completely different from this kind of professional girl, so her disguise as a prostitute was a little funny. Wow! This money is well spent. I really regret that I should have booked the whole night. Su Yun wanted to laugh, but in the end, he held it back. At this time, he couldn't be careless. He was sure that the two guys next door were listening to his voice. Bai Xiaoye glared at Su Yun. Who told him to come up with such a stupid idea? What the hell? Otherwise, she wouldn't be in such a sorry state. One had to know that the clothes she was wearing were just bought to make her look more like a prostitute. Su Yun actually had the nerve to laugh at him. Wasn't all of this for him? Su Yun greeted them as he raised his hand to show Bai Xiaoye the ropes on his hands, hinting for her to raise her doubts as soon as possible. This was the natural reaction of a normal person. Ah, you. Why did you tie yourself up? Bai Xiaoye pretended to be surprised. There's no one else in your room, right? Why do I feel that it's so scary? What's there to be scared of? Isn't this more fun? Su Yun stuck out his tongue and said according to his plan, it's all the trend to tie yourself up. I want to try it too. Bai Xiaoye made a disgusted face and closed the door. Su Yun gestured for her to continue talking to him like a prostitute while pointing at the bathroom. Huff. Bai Xiaoye took a deep breath in her heart. She did all these things today to save her brother, but she still had the nerve to see her brother in the future. This guy really has a headache. I'm so angry. Handsome, let's get straight to the point. You only have 1 hour. Bai Xiaoye used a seductive tone. Oh, I couldn't tell. Su Yun chuckled. If his sister really wanted to seduce someone, she could really do it. Normal men wouldn't be able to resist her. 1 hour is 60 minutes. That's enough time. Bai Xiaoye retorted, no, in our industry, 1 hour is 40 minutes. This was what she heard from people who frequented the bathhouse. They said that a massage was 40 minutes, not an hour. Saying it now made her sound more professional. Su Yun was stunned. Then hurry up and take a shower. With that, Su Yun gestured for Bai Xiaoye to pass her phone to him. After taking her phone, Su Yun immediately turned it to silent mode and gestured for Bai Xiaoye to turn on the water in the bathroom. It would take at least 10 minutes to make some noise. Then, he lay on the bed and pretended to hum a happy tune while sending a message to Chong. I'm Su Yun. Send me a website that can be accessed on my phone. I can watch some self-made movies that are not available to those under 18 years old. Be quick. I want quality. Don't call me back. Just send me a message. Urgent. Urgent. Don't ask why. Afraid that Chong couldn't hear him, Su Yun even made a call. As soon as Chong picked up, he hung up. It was the middle of the night, and Chong was confused. However, when he saw what Brother Yun wanted, he was also a little confused. He wasn't an underage kid. Why would he be interested in these websites? Yet, Brother Yun actually wanted to ask him for it. Seeing how anxious he was, Chong quickly made a few calls and resolved this matter. After this matter was resolved, Su Yun didn't send any more messages. After Su Yun received the address given to him by Chongzi, he immediately logged in with his mobile phone and registered an account. He quickly found a suitable selfie movie that was not suitable for him. It was the kind of movie that was about the same time and was ready to play at any time. Then, he turned the volume of his mobile phone to the maximum. At this time, Bai Xiaoye also walked out of the bathroom. After playing with the water for 10 minutes, her arms were sore. Without waiting for Bai Xiaoye to start, Su Yun said to her, "Beauty, let's start then." After speaking, Su Yun pulled Bai Xiaoye to the bedside and made a hush gesture, indicating that she shouldn't speak from now on. At the same time, Su Yun played a short video on his phone. Bai Xiaoye blushed when she heard the sound coming from the phone. Why did I have such an unreliable brother? He can think of all kinds of ideas. Oh my God. Bai Xiaoye was completely convinced by him. However, Bai Xiaoye had to admit that only Su Yun's brain could be so flexible. Otherwise, how could they solve the current problem? There were 2 pairs of ears on the other side of the wall. Did they have to make a sound themselves? Wouldn't that be even more awkward? Bai Xiaoye calmed down quickly and looked at Su Yun seriously, asking him what had happened with her eyes. Su Yun began to write on the bedsheet with his fingers, telling Bai Xiaoye everything that had happened. The sound coming from the phone became the culprit that made Yudikin and Beagle burn with desire. Soon, Bai Xiaoye understood the cause and effect and also knew Su Yun's purpose. After knowing Su Yun's purpose, she was worried that it was too risky. However, she could also see that Su Yun's decision was firm and wouldn't be swayed by anyone's persuasion. Su Yun asked Bai Xiaoye to tell Lin Guo what he wanted to say to Lin Guo and let Bai Xiaoye do everything for him. He couldn't speak carelessly now, and he couldn't alert the enemy. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so easy to find the secret intelligence base that the American agents could transfer to. Bai Xiaoye was a sensible girl, and she remembered everything. She wouldn't forget anything that Su Yun asked her to do. Finally, Su Yun gestured for Bai Xiaoye to find something sharp for him to hide in his pocket. He had a use for it. Bai Xiaoye immediately took a hair clip from her hair and broke it off, leaving only a piece of metal. Although it wasn't sharp enough, it was enough for Su Yun. This was a good thing, and it was easy to carry and hide. Seeing that it was about time, Su Yun turned off his phone and exclaimed, "So comfortable. I finally know what it means to be in heaven today." Chapter 1450. Judikin and Beagle listened in the rooms on both sides of the room. They would never have guessed that what they were listening to was just a short movie Su Yun was playing on his phone. It had nothing to do with him at all. Su Yun gestured that everything had been arranged and told Bai Xiaoye to leave as soon as possible. If the two suddenly realized what was going on and took Bai Xiaoye down, the plan would fail completely. Su Yun's plan was to go deep into the tiger's den because he believed in his backup. No matter what the situation was, those who could turn the tide with their own strength were the superheroes that the Americans worshipped, such as Superman or the Flash. The place Su Yun wanted to sneak into this time was a secret American military base in Dongying. It was a place for American agents to transit and hide. If this place was destroyed, it would be a very meaningful thing for the entire Asia region. The infiltration of American agents in various countries was a headache for people all over the world. Although this was a secret known to the entire world, and everyone knew about it after the Prism Gate incident, it was because they were a powerful empire. So what if they knew about it? No one could do anything to them. This was hegemonism. No one could do anything to them. As long as they did not admit it and there was no evidence to prove it, no one could do anything to them. Since they stubbornly refused to admit it, then Su Yun could only use this method to deal with them. He wanted them to suffer in silence, unable to voice out their bitterness. Since they refused to admit that they had organized espionage activities all over the world, they could not admit that there was a secret military base in Dongying. If Su Yun burned it down, they would not be able to say anything. After Bai Xiaoye left, the room returned to silence. The rooms on both sides were unusually quiet. Su Yun knew that the two bastards were still eavesdropping. They did not only want to listen to the movements in Su Yun's room, they also wanted to listen to the movements in their companions' rooms. The quieter it was, the more uneasy the two of them felt. Judikin endured the pain in his stomach. Even if he wanted to go to the toilet, he did it carefully, not daring to make a sound. He was afraid that Beagle would have something on him. Su Yun knew that the two of them had ulterior motives, so he had to add some spice to their story. He deliberately knocked over a cup and kicked a chair. The sound was enough to make the two of them tremble in fear for a while. Every time the two of them were scared witless, Su Yun would give them a few minutes to digest the information. This continued until 2 o'clock, when Su Yun finally fell asleep comfortably. He could sleep without worry. Both rooms had such good bodyguards. He would be a fool if he didn't get a good night's sleep. He would just let the two of them figure each other out. How many days had it been? The two of them hadn't had a good night's sleep. They were about to die from exhaustion. With their current state, Su Yun didn't need to be afraid of them. By the time the two of them reached their secret base, the two of them would be exhausted. At that time, there would be nothing to be afraid of. Su Yun slept quite comfortably that night. He believed in Bai Xiaoye's efficiency. Everything should be going smoothly by now. Since Judikin and Beagle didn't dare to go out to sea during the day, they lay in their rooms and listened to the soft moans coming from Su Yun's room. The sounds were like heavenly music to the two of them. They were really sleepy. Normally, the sounds would be noise, but right now, they were like a lullaby. The two of them couldn't keep their eyelids open. They couldn't sleep, and their spirits were low. They smelled a little moldy, but they didn't even have the courage to take a shower. They forced themselves to stay in a room that cost more than $10,000 a night. This must be the most unforgettable night in their lives. Su Yun had said that he would give them an unforgettable night in Huaxia. This night should be unforgettable for them. At noon, it was time to check out. The two of them checked out of their rooms with bitter expressions, leaving Su Yun alone. After all, they still had to wait until nighttime. It was safest for them to stay in the hotel. However, they weren't in the mood to let Su Yun wander around the streets. Judekin and Beagle came to Su Yun's room with suspicion. When they saw each other, they relaxed a little. Su Yun pinched his nose and fanned himself. "Why are you two so unhygienic? Can't you take a shower before checking out?" Go to my bathroom and take a shower. You spent so much money on a hotel and didn't even take a shower. Don't you think you're stupid?" Stupid, of course they were stupid. Of course they were. But what could they do? Now that Su Yun was in the middle, the two of them felt a little more confident. Yudekin was the first to understand. "I was really too tired yesterday. I didn't move from the moment I got into bed. I slept until noon today and didn't have time to wash up. I'll go take a shower now." "Captain Yen Long, you and Beagle talk." Judekin's words had a hidden meaning. He wanted Su Yun to keep an eye on Beagle so that he wouldn't come up with any ideas. Beagle was quite happy. This way, he would have a chance to be alone with Su Yun and use their fingers to whisper to each other. When Yuta King Ong entered the bathroom, Beagle quickly gestured to Su Yun with his fingers and asked him what he should do next. They were about to go out to sea, and Yuta King Gang's stomach was fine. What should he do when he was out at sea? Su Yun assured him that he would find a way to stop him and distract him so that he would focus on Su Yun and not Beagle. Beagle asked what method he should use. Su Yun said, "If I pretend to run away, the two of you will be very nervous, right?" Beagle was stunned. "Of course." Su Yun told him, "Then let me run away. You pretend not to notice, and I'll find a chance to escape when he's distracted. Hide. Then you can find him. That way, he'll focus all his attention on me and won't think about you anymore. After all, I'm the one you want to bring back. As long as I follow you back to your base, he won't be able to do anything in front of so many people, right?" Beagle shook his head. He couldn't trust Su Yun. What if Su Yun really ran away and they couldn't find him? Su Yun turned his back to Beagle and showed him his back. He told him, "You agents have so much advanced equipment. I don't believe that you don't have GPS tracking equipment. Put it somewhere I can't reach and you can find me at any time." "Yes. That's a good idea." Beagle slapped his thigh. Why didn't he think of that? This could indeed create a tense atmosphere. Besides, with GPS tracking, even if Su Yun wanted to escape, it wouldn't be that easy. Good. It's settled then. By the time Yudekin finished showering, the two of them had already decided everything. Beagle, who was in a good mood, also said that he wanted to take a shower. When Su Yun and Judekin were alone, he used the same method to reach an agreement with Judekin. Su Yun knew better than Beagle about the condition of Judekin's stomach. He knew what the consequences of eating dirty cement dust were. With Judekin's current condition, he didn't dare to act rashly. Therefore, the two of them were easily dealt with by Su Yun. It was easy to use them. The rest depended on what Su Yun wanted to do at night. Because of the distrust between Judekin and Beagle, neither of them told the other about what they had discussed with Su Yun. In fact, it was very easy to break Su Yun's plan. As long as the two of them worked together and trusted each other, Su Yun wouldn't be able to do anything. But it was such a simple thing that the two of them really couldn't do it. Su Yun moved around the two of them with ease, causing the two of them to suspect each other without knowing anything about it. Chapter 1451. When the sky finally darkened, Yudekin and Beagle's emotions gradually became more and more agitated. When it was almost time, Yudekin quickly made a call. After some negotiations, they confirmed the time and location. Su Yun definitely had no way of estimating the time, but he had heard the location of the sea. The location of the sea had been accurately guessed by Su Yun. Since they were going to sneak out to sea, they couldn't go to the southern coastal areas. Although there were places with fewer people, it was still more dangerous than going north to the Yonko coast, which was east of Wangaswang. There were bigger waves on the Yonko coast. Even during the summer, there weren't many tourists. Now that the weather was cold and it was night time, there wouldn't be many people there. That should be the best place to sneak out to sea. From the very beginning, Su Yun had guessed that Yutakin had not been in a hurry to contact the police about the speedboat. He had probably already contacted the local people who were involved in smuggling out to sea. The other party would definitely have told them about the situation in Yonko. After all, these people did not want to be caught by the police and lose their jobs. They would definitely recommend the safest place to go to sea. That was why Su Yun made a bold guess. He asked Bai Xiaoye to tell Lin Guo that no matter what method he used, he had to get 3 kilometers away from the Yonko coast before dark. He had to park at a spot that was easy to see. He also had to cover the windshield with a big green towel so that Lin Guo could determine where he parked immediately. Su Yun naturally had his own intentions and objectives for making all these arrangements. After contacting the ship, Yutakin looked at the map, and then gestured for Beeger to set off with Su Yun. They followed the coastal road all the way north, and after passing through the Yonko tunnel, they were not far from their destination. Su Yun sat at the back, resting with his eyes closed. Beeger suppressed a yawn and looked at Su Yun. There was no doubt in his eyes, only anticipation and trust. Su Yun couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This was what it meant to be too clever for one's own good. Yutakin was driving with his eyes wide open. Along the way, every time a car turned on its headlights, he would be shocked. He had already realized that his energy was almost at its limit. If he did not hurry to their secret base in Dongying, he was afraid that he would really be in trouble. As he thought about it, Yutakin's mind wandered again. But soon, he was brought back to his senses by the dazzling light of the car opposite him. Although it was dangerous to drive while fatigued, Su Yun had no choice but to take the risk and let one of their own drive. With his reaction speed as a special agent, he shouldn't get into an accident. It wasn't impossible for him to overturn the car, but even if he overturned, they wouldn't lose their lives if they escaped before the oil explosion. These things were nothing to Su Yun. His only concern was that nothing went wrong before he could be successfully brought to the military base. What he wanted was not just these 2 heads. What he wanted to do was to directly destroy the enemy's defense tower. The car continued to move forward, and everything went smoothly. Seeing that they were about to reach the Yonko Sea, Su Yun finally saw a car with a green towel covering the windshield at the T-junction. The trunk of the car was open, and Lin Guo was pretending to organize something. With his strong sixth sense, Lin Guo also watched Su Yun's car leave his sight. Although Lin Guo couldn't see anyone in the car, he trusted his senses. Brother Yun might appear in a while, so he had to get ready quickly. After learning about this from Bai Xiaoye last night, he immediately prepared everything according to Su Yun's instructions and arrived at a place not far from the Yonko Sea before dark. After everything here was over, he had to rush back to the Dragon Brigade to report to Chief Wan and the others. After learning about Brother Yun's idea from Bai Xiaoye, Lin Guo was really scared. This idea was too bold. If they could really use this opportunity to destroy the American military base, it would be very interesting. Not to mention General Ade, even President Ama would cry in anger. As expected of his big brother Yun, he was fiercer than the average person. Lin Guo was excited as he prepared everything. After closing the trunk, he got into the driver's seat, ready for the familiar figure to appear in his sight. The car finally stopped at Yonko Sea. Yutakin coughed lightly, and not long after, a person walked out of the darkness and quickly handed a key to Yutakin. The boat is right there, and the spare oil barrels are full. You can replenish them at any time. These are all a gift from our boss. What do you think? Isn't that enough? Yutakin nodded. It's very kind. Don't worry, I will transfer the remaining 50% to your boss's account soon. Tell your boss to wait in peace. I'm a man of my word. Hee, I know you're a man of your word, sir. The person who gave the key lowered his head and smiled. But our boss said that once you leave, we don't know where you'll go. It's quite troublesome for us to prepare all this for you with a speedboat. We don't want to save money. 50% is not a small amount. Bigger frowned. How much can your welded and repaired speedboat be worth? We've already given you 150,000. Even if we don't pay you back, you won't lose anything. That broken speedboat can only be used once at most. What else do you want? This boss is being unreasonable. How much does a car cost? Besides, we're giving you a boat. Don't you think so? Also, this thing is a thing. We have to pay for our service and hard work. We've been waiting for you at Sea Breeze for so long in the middle of the night. If you don't plan to pay the balance, that's not very kind. The person who gave the key snorted. It's better to be a man of integrity, Utikin said calmly, but who would bring 150,000 in cash? And I don't have a computer, so I can't transfer the money. When I gave you the money a few days ago, I didn't ask for any proof. This is a sign that I trust you. You should trust me too, right? No, please don't say that. You trust us because we can run away, but we can't run away. We're different from you. You're a monk without a temple. We really can't believe it. After the person who gave the key finished speaking, he took out something. I can swipe my card here. Don't make it difficult for me. We've already agreed on something, so there's no point in dragging it out. Utikin sneered. They'd already asked for 150,000 for the worthless repair of that broken speedboat, and now there was no end to it? He was also a little annoyed. What if we don't give it to you? Bigger was not as polite as Utikin, and said bluntly. Then I'm sorry. The person who gave the key clapped his hands, and a dozen young men from Qingdao walked out of the darkness. All of them had calipers, and they were wearing small sweatpants and ill-fitting Adidas jackets. They walked out with slanted eyes, looking like they wanted to eat someone alive. Utikin and Bigger smiled at each other. This was easy. These guys wanted to play like this, and it was exactly what they wanted. Su Yun couldn't be bothered with this. Go ahead and beat them up. These people who sold the boat to stowaways were criminals. They deserved a beating. If it wasn't for the fact that he had something important to do, Su Yun wouldn't have let them go. It was just right for Utikin and Bigger to teach them a lesson. This was also an opportunity for him to leave and find Lin Gu. Utikin and Bigger had already discussed this with him, so they would definitely turn a blind eye and give Su Yun a few minutes. These few minutes were enough for Su Yun. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.